Hello, everyone, and welcome to 10 Candles, a storytelling game of tragic horror created by Stephen Dewey. I am your game master, Xander, and this is a fun new Friday thing we got going on. We got every alternating Friday slot, aside from Tomb of Annihilation. We got some other games, some one-shots. I've ultimately and executively decided that this is going to be called Friday Night Annihilation, because I think that just sounds pretty great. So, willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. Joining me on this first occasion, I have some of my lovely friends from Internet Remix. I have Phil.
Hello, everybody.
I have Jojo.
Hello.
I have Kristen.
Hey.
Walrus.
Yes.
And Tex.
Hello.
Hello.
How is everybody?
I hope everyone's doing super well, because
I hope
tonight...
everyone's about to be scared.
Because tonight we're about to get a little spooky up in here.
You would be weird.
Yes. So for those of you who are wondering, what the heck is this? So, I have recently found out about this game called 10 Candles, which a few friends of mine had played and highly recommended it to me. And I am all for, one, it's an indie RPG, so, support indie developers. But also, it is a game that is meant to be played in one-shots. You don't play over multiple sessions, you play under one session, which is always fun when you have a group that either A, doesn't want to play a campaign, or B, can't meet often enough to do such things. So it's great. Best of both worlds. This game requires absolutely zero preparation from the players or the GM. So we're both going into this blind, relatively. I have, essentially a paragraph of story written out that I kind of clue everyone in, but this is a shared narrative game. And what that means is that anyone can drive the story, anyone can drive the narrative of what happened depending on certain circumstances. You might be wondering, why is this game called 10 Candles? Well, if it wasn't evident enough on this wonderful stream overlay that Kristen made for us, the game's main mechanic revolves around the use of 10 candles. Now, in most circumstances, this RPG is meant to be played around a real table, IRL, because you light 10 tea light candles and you play the game in the dark. Because we're a bunch of people who live all across the freaking globe, we are playing online. We have digital candles to represent the 10 candles, and for those of us who can stand looking at a computer screen in the dark, we're sitting in the dark. So that's how that works. The candles work as essentially a storytelling timer. Every time a candle darkens, the scene must move forward to the next scene, essentially, until all candles have been extinguished, at which point everyone dies. Because in 10 Candles, everyone dies. That is not an escapable thing. And I will repeat this a few times. It is very important to remember that though you know your characters will die, you must have hope that they will survive. And we're all sharing...
Sounds like the descriptor of my autobiography.
Yeah. You're a little quiet, Phil. You should turn up your mic a bit. If you can. Or I might turn you up on my side.
How's that?
No, it was quiet for me as well.
Okay, I'm literally right
there we
next
go.
to the mic.
I've turned
The
them up.
mic sucks.
I've turned you guys up, so you should be good now. Okay.
My microphone doesn't have very good, kind of
Yeah.
thing,
No worries. I've turned you guys up on my end, so you guys are good.
Yay!
Yay. So, basically, because I am the GM, so I do drive, I am kind of... Basically, the way the game works is that in certain moments, if you succeed in doing things, you get to drive the narration of the outcome. However, if you fail, I drive the narration of the outcome. And I will always be at the end, I will always be the narrator at the end. But we're all building this story together. And even though you know your characters are going to die, it's about, creating the best story. So even in some circumstances, you might need to set up a narrative that might screw them over. But we'll get to that. As I said, this game requires no preparation, and the way characters work is actually we make characters as a group. Isn't that fun?
Wow.
Yeah, we basically
Wowzer.
make them right now, right here, in a couple of steps, which we are going to do in a moment. And there's a handy-dandy little list I have up on my end to help guide us through this, because this is my first time running it as well. So, yes.
I just want to say, my dog is in here with me, so if he starts barking or, like, snoring or something, it is him.
Okay. I'm glad to know that it isn't Tex who is barking loudly.
You can just go walk if that happens.
I just suddenly turned.
Little known fact about the Tex barks loudly when frightened.
Little known fact about Tex is she used to be a punk musician.
You think I ever stopped?
Bold of you to assume that she stopped, Phil.
Jesus. Okay. Well, before we start working on anything, do I have any questions from the players? Or any statements, anything that you wish to talk about before we get into the game? No?
Eat pant.
Eat?
Yeah, I was waiting for you to say that, Tex. That's
got
the only thing I need.
I got one.
I didn't want to
one?
play that card right
This
away.
one's-
I was
this
like,
one's really
I'll hold it
important.
back.
Okay, I'm listening.
What is it, Jojo? What is it, Jojo?
Bitch lasagna.
That's not a question, but I like it.
Lasagna.
Bitch lasagna.
Nice.
Thanks much. I come to pass.
So everyone, before we dive in here, a couple more things I just want to add. This, as I've mentioned, is a game of tragic horror. And tragic horror is similar to survival horror, except in survival horror, there is the chance of getting out alive. This is a story
And
of survival, exactly. However, there is no chance of getting out alive. Your characters will die today. The story we're going to tell is not one of survival, but one of hope and of loss. This is a story of what happens, about what happens in the dark in the final few hours in the lives of a group of survivors fighting against it, losing themselves within it, and inevitably being consumed by it. Though their endeavor may be doomed to fail, it is our duty to make the story of their struggle as meaningful as possible. Do you all understand?
Yep.
Yes.
Good. Well, then the first step is for everyone. We're going to begin by writing traits. And you might be wondering, hey, Xander, what, might I ask, is a trait? Well, everyone here has 4 aspects, and you can see them on the overlay. They are a vice, a virtue, a moment, and a brink. For this first part, we are going to begin with the vice and virtue. But before we do that, we must light 3 candles. And they are lit.
Woo.
All right, so a vice and a virtue, essentially the way your aspects work is that these are abilities you can use in the game. Specifically, a vice and a virtue. The main mechanic of the game, you see, is when a situation is uncertain in the narrative, I call for what is called a conflict roll, and you roll dice, and you succeed on that conflict if you roll any number of 6s. However, if you roll no 6s, the conflict fails, and a candle is darkened, and we progress to the next scene. However, if you roll 6s, you succeed. If you roll any 1s in that dice pool, those 1s are removed and given to me. Because I will roll against you for narrative control of the outcome. If you lose, the outcome will always be narrated by me. However, if you succeed the conflict and I succeed in rolling against you, I get to narrate the outcome and decide what happens next. I'll explain this a bit more in detail in a little bit. That's the rough shape of it. However, using your traits, you are able, which is your vice and your virtue, if you spend it, you can re-roll all of the dice that landed on a 1. And the way this works is when you burn it, it's called burning a trait, you bring it into the narrative in some significant way. And you can only burn 1 aspect per scene, so you can't just do them over and over again. Your traits are your vice and your virtue. So everyone get out your first sheet of paper. Yes. So here's how we create vices. I'm scrolling on the document really quickly. And yes, there we go. Yeah, so just to recap, traits are, they describe who your character is. While these commonly denote personality traits, they can also define physical characteristics, skills, or knowledge a character has. Every character has a positive trait, their virtue, and a negative trait, their vice. So we're going to create our vice and virtue. Basically, virtues should solve more problems than they create. Vices should create more problems than they solve. An example of these is, in rule of thumb, try to keep each trait to a single word, preferably a descriptive adjective. Come up with the words, not the meaning behind them. Traits can and should be vague, as this will allow more flexibility during play. An example of some virtues are lucky, resourceful, watchful, committed, daring, handsome, stuff like that. Some vices, afraid, addicted, controlling, claustrophobic, rash. Those are some examples. They should not... the traits you choose not only define the group of characters you'll be playing, but also the tone of the game. Make sure traits, support the style of story we want to tell. You guys brainstorm this, throw things at me, tell me what you're thinking, and everyone write down one. And also keep these to 2 separate sheets if you're using paper. Have one be your virtue page and one be your vice page.
Okay, so my first thought was alcoholic.
I'm gonna say that's a vice. I guess it's a strength if you want it to be, but isn't it both, really? I mean, if we're honest with ourselves.
It depends if you have the alcohol on hand.
Exactly. Well, yes, there are no limits to what you can do here, Tex. Alcoholic is a great one. If you wanted to, you could generalize it even further and say addict. So even if not necessarily come into alcohol, even if alcohol necessarily doesn't come into play, you at least have the sense of you are addicted to something. But you can do whichever you want. Anyone else got anything they want to throw out there for what they're thinking?
Okay, this is a bit of a stretch, but I was thinking of the adjective brittle.
Brittle.
As if
Crunchy.
as if to describe someone who is like
Crunchy.
who's just kind of very crunchy. Like I was sort of picturing somebody
just crunchy sadness.
who's like,
Let the boy talk!
I exist, you fucking all right. I was imagining somebody who literally has like a brittle body, someone who is old and who could snap easily.
It's crunchy.
Yeah, a crunchy man. I think that would be a really interesting trait, to just be vulnerable to bad things happening physically.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Brittle is a good one. I like that. Yeah. If that's something. Yeah. I think that's just vague, enough that it could apply to multiple situations. Someone who is easy to break under situations definitely causes more problems than they solve. Anyone else?
Real quick,
Mm-hmm.
what's a single phrase that you would use to describe someone who's easily frightened?
Fearful.
Cowardly.
Dead.
Cowardly.
Cowardly,
Cowardly's
fearful.
good.
Yeah, cowardly is a good one.
Craven.
Yeah.
Spooks.
Crunchy.
Incorrect.
I hate that you use the word crunchy.
There's nothing. Okay.
I'm quitting this game.
All right, cool. Anyone got any virtues they want to throw out there?
Crusty.
I was thinking of I don't know. I wanted to go with like an inventor person, but I don't know if that would be too direct. So maybe like.
I like the concept of what you're going for. A way you could break that down into a single descriptive adjective would be something like cunning, or resourceful, or
Inventive.
inventive. Yeah, exactly, something like that. Intuitive, stuff like that. Yeah, all great words.
Yeah.
Just to keep it to that like nice vague descriptive adjective.
Crunchy.
Crunchy.
I assume we need to tell you all of our vice and verses.
Yeah, you guys are going to
virtues.
announce these out loud. Yeah, you guys are
And
telling us.
how many do? Sorry, how many did you say we?
You
do
make
each?
you make a vice and you make a virtue.
Just one each.
So
Okay,
one
cool.
each.
One each.
Of
One
each.
each.
Of... Okay.
How does the idea of someone who is armed as a virtue be?
Who is
Um,
what?
Armed,
Armed.
well, so these cannot apply to equipment. However,
Ah.
you could do something like what's it good steady or fighter or unstoppable. Something that's more like a general descriptive adjective of their prowess. It's instead of saying something like sharpshooter, you could be like, yeah, he is like steady. You know, he's got a good aim under that adjective. If just for the heck of it. Yeah. Anyone else?
What about boisterous?
Boisterous? Define.
As in loud, outgoing.
A boisterous
full of
bean boy.
bravado and boist. Boister's not a word, but you know.
Boisterous.
Get a word.
Interesting.
Boisterous.
That could apply
Or
very well.
rambunctious.
Oh,
There we
rambunctious.
go.
That's a good word. Yeah. Would that be their virtue? That is
Yeah.
their rambunctiousness solves
Yeah.
problems, or would it cause problems if they're very rambunctious?
I mean, it could technically do both, but I'd
Try
imagine
to
rambunctiousness
think
would,
and weigh it
you know-
as to which one would
Okay, so,
cause more problems or less problems.
yeah, okay, I'm with you.
I've got one. That might be a wise one. Brave.
Brave,
Would
great,
that-
great
would
one.
Would that be working? Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Vice is brave.
I think I've changed my vice. I kind of want to do like closed off, but I can't think of an.
Okay,
adjective
like an
for it.
adjective for like closed off, like describe. You mean like someone who's kind of
Edgy.
edgy? I mean, that's a good. That's a good one.
Aloof.
Edgy.
Trusting, I guess.
Untrusting. That's a good vice if you want untrusting.
Is that the
Distrustful.
word?
Distrustful. That's thank you. Distrustful. Thank you.
Distrustful is,
Is that-
just
is that-
crunchy fear.
Oh God. Is that distrustful is an adjective, right?
Distrustful is an adjective, yes.
Great.
At least I believe it is.
I got an A star in English, and I don't know the difference between a
Distrustful
verb,
is
an
an
adjective,
adjective.
and everything
Great.
else.
So that's
Nice.
so
Okay,
that's
just
so that's a
British
vice.
education, neither do I.
That's the vice you wrote down, Tex.
Yeah,
Great. What's your virtue again?
resourceful.
Resourceful. All right, great. Kristen, vice and virtue.
I put down charismatic because I love me some charisma. Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
And I think for vice I've put down fatalistic.
What was that? Sorry.
Fatalistic.
Describe. Define.
Like fatalistic is like someone who's just convinced this shit is not gonna work out.
Oh. Okay.
That could
Interesting.
go well.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be great.
Jojo, what's your vice and virtue?
My virtue is intuitive, and my vice is cowardly.
Cowardly.
Intuitive means that I can hide well, but I am easily frightened.
Okay. Phil, vice and virtue.
Okay, vice, impulsive.
Mm.
And virtue, I can't think of the actual word, so I'm just going to go with bravado-y.
Bravado is
Bravado-y.
Bravado.
Bravado.
Crunchy.
You know, if you remove the e, you've got the word.
Yeah.
Good
bravado.
job.
That-
I
bravado.
didn't think bravado was... Like,
Yeah, bravado is an adjective.
Bravado's an actual.
It's
It's
a,
an adjective.
it's a
Yes.
descriptive word. And Walrus, your vice and virtue.
My vice is brittle, and my virtue is brave.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
To be.
These all sound fantastic. Now, I hope
These were
you...
the ingredients chosen.
Yes. Now, I hope you weren't too attached to these. Everyone is going to pass your virtue and your vice to another player. Yes.
Pretty crunchy.
I have organized a circle essentially on my screen that I can see that's kind of as almost like we are playing at a table, just so I can know what the left and right of everyone is. So everyone is going to pass their virtue to the right and their vice to the left. That means, Kristen, you give Phil your vice. So Phil's vice is
Phil's vice is fatalistic.
fatalistic. So Phil, your vice is now fatalistic. And you give Jojo your virtue.
Jojo gets my charisma.
Great. So
Yay!
you're charismatic. Jojo, you
can
give
flirt.
Jojo, give Kristen your vice.
Coward.
Coward.
Cowardly.
Phil, give Kristen your virtue.
Virtue bravado.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. And now, Phil, give your vice to Tex.
Vice is impulsive.
Yep.
Impulsive.
Tex, give your virtue to Phil and your vice to Walrus.
Okay, my virtue is resourceful.
That's to Phil.
That's for you, Phil. And my vice is distrustful. That's for
All
you,
right.
Walrus.
And then Walrus, give your vice to Jojo and your virtue to Tex.
Jojo, you are brittle as a vice, and
Crash.
Tex, you got bravery.
Ooh.
Ooh. Okay, so now everyone should have their vice and virtue given to them.
I think I may be missing one. I think I'm missing my virtue.
Oh, Jojo, you get Jojo, give Walrus your virtue.
Intuitive.
Got it.
All right,
Yeah.
great. Now, just once more, just for clarity, I am going to go around the table and ask you guys what your vice and your virtue is. Kristen.
My virtue is bravado, and my vice is cowardly.
Great. Phil.
My vice is fatalistic, and virtue resourceful.
All right. Tex.
My virtue is bravery, and my vice is impulsive.
Hey. Walrus.
My virtue is intuitive, and my vice is distrustfulness.
And lastly, Jojo.
My virtue is charisma, and my vice is brittle.
Very nice. All right, everyone. That was step 1. Now we move on to the next part of character creation. I'm going to introduce the module. The story that we will be playing tonight is this. You all know the basics. 10 days ago, the world went dark. 5 days ago, they came. Here's the module. Our module tonight is going to be Light in the Dark. Your job is simple. Ride into town, retrieve any survivors, and get them to safety. The Humvee is loaded with enough gas to get there, but you'll need to stop at a local station for refueling to get out again. Not too much room for passengers, so your team will have to be creative when you see what you're dealing with. The helicopter pickup at Drop Point Delta is arriving in less than 2 hours. You've got guns and enough floodlights to surround your car with a halo of protection, at least for now, but little else. There's supposed to be a safe house on the way into town that might have some supplies if it hasn't been picked clean. For now, though, the drive is long and the roads are dark. Be ready. That's tonight's module.
Do we have names?
We're about to get to that. A couple of things that are important to go over. I mentioned it briefly at the beginning of that, but to go into a bit more detail. In this narrative, 10 days ago, the world was suddenly plunged into darkness. It was almost as if the sun went out. However, scientists have confirmed that the sun is still there. Something's just blocking it. Something that's blocking the entire Earth.
Is this at the sun vanished?
What was that?
Just say, is this the sun vanished on Twitter?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
Oh, fuck.
It's an ARG with like the same.
Oh, neat. I'm not familiar with that. I'm going
Same
to check that
program.
out. But, so...
Wait, sorry, just a quick question.
Yep.
They say something's blocking it. Are they saying that they found something in space that's tangibly blocking it physically, or have they measured that
if they
it
know...
makes sense that the sun's still there, but something somewhere should be blocking it? We just don't know what the fuck.
No one knows what it is. Or at least if they do, no one's telling. But something is blocking. That was 10 days ago. 5 days ago, they came. This is a they with a capital T. And they are referred to as they, them, and their. And always with a capital T. They are your adversaries. They are the monsters who lurk in the darkness and are repelled by the light. Their one weakness is the light. And they kill mercilessly. That is what you are surviving against. Step 3, we are going to create our character concepts. Now that we've introduced the module, take a few minutes now to work out a basic concept for their characters. You jot down your information on another sheet of paper, and then introduce them to the group afterwards. At minimum, you should try to solidify 3 things: your name, your look, and your concept. To break this down a bit more specifically, for concept, in a few words, who are they? What are they? Concepts are really meant to be a snapshot. No need to get into too much detail. Andrew Litwell, mid-40s, salt and pepper hair with a long black coat, retired lawyer. Or William Billy Kale, 9-year-old with a bright face and dark eyes, just a kid. Those are some good working concepts. So
I have
everyone...
a quick question.
Yeah, go, what's up?
What if, say, 2 people want to be twins? Would you allow that?
Sure. Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm down for that.
Yee!
So everyone take a few minutes now to just kind of think of these 3 concepts. And feel free to bounce things off of me. Let your traits, your vice and your virtue, not necessarily fully guide what this concept is, but play into and somewhat inform. All right. While everyone's doing that, I'm going to take a moment to look at the chat. Hey, everyone. It's going to get real scary up in here, so thank you for watching. I'm so psyched to be playing this, everyone. Like, I'm really, really excited. I'm going to break down some of these game mechanics a little bit more here in a couple minutes. Just so everyone understands a bit more.
While
Yes.
we're typing out ours, just quickly recap what it is that we need to write down, because Walrus is back.
Oh, hello, Walrus.
I don't know what just happened, but
No.
my internet just decided
Walrus
to die.
died
Oh
already.
no!
Not even in the game.
Walrus, what was the last thing you heard?
I heard you talk about the gas station and then whoop, death.
Okay, I'll repeat the module just in a second. Basically, now we're creating a character concept. Here, I'll reread the module for you, just so you can get the whole entirety of it again.
Quickly before you do, would it be
Yes.
cheating to have military experience or not?
No, if you want to play a soldier, by all means, play a soldier.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, here's... You said you dropped out of the gas station. Okay, so I'll start at the beginning. The module that we're playing tonight is called Light in the Dark. Your job is simple. Ride into town, retrieve any survivors, and get them to safety. The Humvee is loaded with enough gas to get there, but you'll need to stop at a local station for refueling to get out again. Not too much room for passengers, so your team will have to be creative when you see what you're dealing with. The helicopter pickup at Drop Point Delta is arriving in less than 2 hours. You've got guns and enough food, enough floodlights to surround your car with a halo of protection. At least for now, but little else. There's supposed to be a safe house on the way into town that might have some supplies if it hasn't been picked clean. For now, though, the drive is long and the roads are dark. Be ready. And for clarification, since you missed it, in this narrative, 10 days ago, the world went dark. That, like, it almost like the sun itself went out. However, scientists around the world have affirmed that the sun is still there. There's just something blocking the Earth. No one knows what it is, and if they do know, they're not telling. That was 10 days ago. 5 days ago, they arrived. This is they with a capital T. They are the adversaries. They are those who lurk within the darkness. Their one weakness is the light. That is why we use the light to survive. That is who you are up against. So, now we are working on character concepts. You are coming up with your character's name, they're like kind of what they look like, and a general concept. The general concepts are kind of like a snapshot of who they are, not a lot of detail. Name, look, name, what's their name, or what are they called, look, what do they look like at a quick glance, and their concept, an overall concept. Who are they and what are they? So text brings up that if you wanted to play a soldier, that's totally fine. Yeah, absolutely. That does not inform, that basically, that totally works.
Can you give another description, like an example of the look and concept and stuff?
Yeah. Well, a good concept, I'll repeat one of the things. A good concept is like, let's see. William Billy Kale, 9-year-old with a bright face and dark eyes, just a kid. Those are some good working concepts. A look is just a quick glance of what they look like. Note, like, like head to toe what they look like as you look over them, and then an overall rough concept of them as a person. Like, retired lawyer, stuff like that. So, in overall, it would include the name, the description, and then the rough concept. Yeah. So, how is everyone in the chat doing, by the way? It's been a super fun, long week, hasn't it? Nice to unwind with some legit horror.
Abject horror.
Abject
I
horror.
can't read
So
the chat,
excited.
but I hope they're feeling crunchy tonight.
Oh, no, they're not.
Feel crunchy tonight, chat. You're the crunchy chat.
Fears
That's all
just
they've ever wanted to
crunchy
be, I'm
anger.
sure.
Crunchy.
Coming live at you from the
Crispy.
Crunch Boys.
Crusty.
I saw... Was it you, Phil,
Welcome to
who...
the Crunchy Crab.
Phil, was it you who shared the Captain Crunch meme on Facebook?
Yes, it definitely was. Would you care to repeat it?
I'm not repeating it.
If you won't,
Phil,
I
I
will.
saw that foot lasagna thing you posted and I wanted to die.
Same.
That was awful.
It was the worst thing I have ever seen on Facebook.
Shiro Bird says we feeling crunchy.
Ooh, crunchy.
Crunchy.
Oh man.
I love the crunch.
All right, everyone, sign off. I mean, not sign off. Sound off
Crunching at me, Captain.
when you have written out your 3 concepts.
I'm good.
All right,
3
Chris-
concepts.
Well, you're the three things in general. Your name, the look, and the concept. Sorry, generalize the
yeah,
word
I've done
concept. All right, Kristen. Now that you're done, would you like to run us through the 3?
My name is Jane Torrent. I'm in my 50s, and I'm an angry biker lady.
Hey.
Mood.
Nice. Okay. Can you DM me the spelling of that name so I can change your name on the overlay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ow. Just hit myself in the face with a pen.
Good job.
I'm proud of you.
All right. Anyone else
Thank
have
you.
their concepts finished?
Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I have mine finished.
All right. Great. I'll get to
Um,
yours in just a second. Go ahead. What is it, Tex?
Okay, so I am Stephanie Hawks. I'm in my 30s. I have dark brown hair and a freckled face. I was an ex-Navy pilot and discharged 5 years ago.
Nice. Okay. Can you send me the name so I can add it to the overlay?
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. Anyone else got theirs?
I believe so.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. Jojo,
My
Phil.
name,
Yeah.
my name is River Daniels. I'm 15 years old. I'm a tall, skinny redhead with freckles and blue eyes. I'm easygoing and I'm talkative.
Ah, very nice. So River Daniels, easy enough for me to spell. And Phil, what you got under the hood?
Gregory Daniels, 15 years old, about 4'10", short red hair, freckles and blue eyes. Easygoing child genius with big emphasis on genius, doesn't talk.
Love it.
I forgot to mention that she's 5'2".
Oh, nice. And Walrus, you got yours ready yet?
Yeah, I think I've got a basic concept.
for it.
My character's name is Neve McBride. She has a sort of wiry hair, which is red. She has a bit of a grumpy look on her face, almost consistently. Pale, she's in her late 20s, and she's a bartender with keen eyes.
Ah, very nice. Just send me the spelling of the name, and I shall add that. Wonderful. And
Yeah,
Phil, can you repeat your name one more time for me?
Gregory Daniels.
Gregory Daniels. Thank you, sir. All right. let me
As
just-
someone who's worked as a bartender for over a year now, the grumpy face is just what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how's that going, Tex?
Well, don't know if I said, but I got a new job, and that's all right.
Yeah.
Except it's like a 2-story restaurant, and to do anything, you have to go up and down the stairs about 50 million times in a day.
Oof.
So, I mean, at least I'm getting my leg workouts in.
Get the big legs strong.
Big, strong Russian lady legs.
And don't worry, Walrus. I'm fully aware that spelling is pronounced Neve.
Yeah,
Is it the Irish one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a girl in my college named Neve, and I only I only saw her originally through like Facebook because I had never had classes with her, and then so came the day that I met her. I was like, "Oh, hi, nice to meet you, Neem," and she's like, "It's Neve," and I'm like, How and why?
Meme.
All right, cool. Everyone's names are here. Let me transition. Boom. Bam. All right. So these are our survivors for this session of 10 Candles. Fantastic. All right. Now we move on to the next part. I must light 3 additional candles as we move into step 4, planning moments. 1, 2, 3. Yes. There we go. All right, so the next step in this character creation process is for every player to determine what your moment will be. Moments are another one of your aspects. A moment details a personal scene or event that will be played out for each person at some point during this session. Significantly, in living this moment, a character will have the opportunity to find hope. You might find this hope in an act of heroism, in solving a mystery about them, or the sunless sky, in completing a goal, in reaching an area of safe haven, or in some other accomplishment. To establish a moment, each player should take another index card and write down, "I will find hope, ... at the top. Then fill in the rest with the moment for your character. I'll give some examples here in a second. Basically, the way this works is when you live your moment, if the moment that you have written down comes to fruition, I will ask you to make a conflict roll. If you succeed, you will gain hope. This comes in the form of an extra hope die. Hope dice, when rolled, succeed on a 5 or a 6 instead of just a 6. And then they can only... and also they are not lost when you roll a 1. And you have those if you succeed on your moment. If you fail your moment, you lose hope. In either case, your moment is spent. Some examples of moments, as I've said, they should encapsulate an event that would be reasonable to achieve, kept succinct and clear to provide strong direction to fold them into the narrative. They can relate to a goal your character has or experience that you, as the player, would like your character to go through. Moment should be personal to your character. Think of it as a scene where your character will take the spotlight. Consider what would be important and impactful to them. Moment should have the power to restore the character's hope in the world, often by reaching a place, finding someone, uncovering a truth, or seeking a minute of rest from the darkness. However, they all have the potential for failure. Some examples of moment is they all begin with "I will find hope, ... Some examples are, in a moment of prayer at a quiet church, when the fallout shelter's door closes, or in the contents of my stash back home, or when I find my sister dead or alive. During play, when your moment becomes active, and I will discuss what active means in a moment, they then may be lived. At this point, when they're active, you should begin looking for a chance to weave it into the story. It is up to everyone to work together to make moments happen and make them evocative, intense, and most importantly, joyful. All right, everyone understand?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, then begin brainstorming your moments. And yeah, these are personal to you, and you can choose
Do
to
these
keep
have to be... Sorry.
Go ahead.
So do these have to be, like, direct, or can they be kind of vague?
They can be kind of vague. It's up to you. Like, what are you thinking? These don't have to be secret. If you have a good idea and you would like to keep it secret, then do. Otherwise, I do encourage letting everyone know what your moment is, so we can work together to work it into the narrative when it becomes active. So what are you thinking, Tex?
I was just thinking of something like redeeming her name or something, because she got discharged, and she kind of wants to kind of, like, I don't know.
So like a good one,
prove...
a good one, like I will find hope when I find redemption for my past misdeeds, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. It's up to you. What you want them to be. If that sounds good to you, or if you want to think more on it, by all means, be my guest. It is whatever is most personal to you. You know, this is your moment. I'm here to kind of like throw ideas at, but ultimately, you decide if that's what you want.
Okay.
So I'll get back to you in case you're undecided. Anyone else have any moments they have for ideas?
Just a quick idea. If it's good or bad, let me know.
Yeah.
I will find hope if I can make someone smile during this crisis.
Ah, interesting. Okay. Let me think about that for a second. That's not bad at all. When I can make someone smile in this crisis.
Yeah.
You know what? I like that.
Yay!
Now this doesn't apply. Now the moment will be, any general smile, like a smirk or a general smile, doesn't cut it. This has to be a moment that is inspiring and hopeful for you. So
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. We can work with that, absolutely. If that's what you want to go with, go ahead and write it down as your moment. Anyone else? Anyone else?
I have an idea.
Yes.
How does this sound? I will find hope when I spot the traitor.
Ooh, interesting. I like that. I really like that. Yeah, by all means, I will find hope when I spot the traitor. That's great. Love it. It allows a lot of narrative flexibility there.
I just have imagined that she's she's very used to being in a bar and just spotting when somebody's about to just do something absolutely fucking thick, and she's like, right, okay, get the hammer, exit him. And I would anticipate that this is a sort of moment that she enjoys immensely.
Yeah. Love it. Great. All right. Anyone else?
Yeah. Firstly, Jojo's just going to be right back.
All right.
Secondly, I will find hope when my sister is finally safe. How's that sound?
Oh. I love that you can hear Jojo in the background.
Oh!
That's great.
Just down the hallway. She's fucking.
I will find hope when my sister is finally safe. I like that. I do like that. That's pretty good. And Kristen.
I could drink that up.
Yes, drink it up with a. Why am I thinking of
Just
Daniel
take
Day?
it in.
Why am I thinking of Daniel Day
Good
Lewis and There Will Be Blood?
schlong.
Like, I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. Yes, Kristen.
I will find hope when I am what I say, because she is, of course, full of bravado and constantly talks herself up, but I think in the end what happened is she fucking ditched her entire biker gang and they all died.
Okay.
Because she was screwed.
Okay.
That's
Sure.
spooky and sad.
Now you have all of these moments that will inspire your personal hope. That's great, everyone. The next and
Okay.
yes.
So I've just changed mine a bit.
Oh, what did you do?
I said I just changed like mistakes or whatever to like past failures. So maybe like she failed to save a civilian or whatever
Okay.
when she was actually in
Okay.
doing
So,
her
like,
job.
Okay. I like it. Sure. Love it.
All right, that's it.
Okay, everyone. You all have your moments. Step 5. Discover your brinks. I must light 3 more candles. 9 candles are lit. At this point, you should all have a good idea of the characters at this table. Who they are, why they're here, what's going on, and maybe even traits and future hopeful moments of your fellow survivors. For the next piece of character creation, every player, including myself, has one last piece of paper. On this, we will create our brink. A brink is much like writing a trait, however, instead of describing who a character is, brinks describe what a character is capable of. Rather than representing the character as they are, brinks are hidden traits. These are going to be secrets. Alright, everyone's going to keep these secret. I will guide you in this process. Rather than representing the character as they are, brinks are hidden traits which show what the character may become when pushed to the edge of fear, hopelessness, and desperation. When everything else is burned away, a character's brink is their last dark refuge. Whether a character will embrace their brink or eschew its temptations and refuse to give up hope is each player's decision to make. But in the shadows of the apocalypse, even the strong may give in to the darkness before inevitably realizing what they've become, and more importantly, what they've sacrificed. The reality of a brink should be a dangerous thing. It need not be rooted in violence in order to be dangerous, especially with them on the hunt. Brinks are meant to demonstrate what a character has broken, and while brinks may create their own plethora of problems when embraced, the biggest concern should be amongst the survivors. Brinks should call a character's humanity, sanity, reliability, or trustworthiness into question. For this reason, regardless of what a brink is, they must be kept a secret. Of course, otherwise, your fellow survivors might distrust you from the start. Of course, that would work out much better if one of them didn't already know about it. To create a brink, everyone should take their final piece of paper and write the words, "I've seen you, ... on the top. Just as with the traits, you don't get to choose your own brink. Instead, everyone will choose the brink for the player to their left. Meaning, on my end, Kristen, you choose Phil's brink. Phil chooses Tex's. Tex, you give Walrus his brink. Walrus gives Jojo their brink. And Jojo, you are in an interesting position. Because, since I am also writing brinks, you don't pass yours to Kristen. You pass yours to me. But here's the thing.
What?
Yeah, no, here's the thing. Not only will you know the brink for your character, but you will also know the brink for the character sitting next to you. And by extension, your character will also know. In this manner, each character has seen what another character is capable of. Perhaps it was before the world went dark, or even just a few days ago. Either way, you've seen that character pushed to the edge. Maybe you'll warn the other survivors. Perhaps you'll confront them directly. Or you may just wait to see how it all plays out. Regardless, each character knows the dark truth about one of their companions, for good or ill. Here's how you write brinks. Kept to a single word or short descriptive phrase. Just as with traits, don't worry about making them too specific. The more situations they can apply to, the better for the player when it comes time to build them into the story. When writing a brink, it is also suggested that you write a short explanation on the card outlining when or where you saw this brink embodied by your neighbor. Or, PM them, work it out, make it dangerous, make it fun. Here's some examples of brinks. I have seen you ... kill, abandon, rage, lie, hide, sacrifice, promise, collapse, run. Those are some good single words. Here are some more completed out ones, like, I have seen you destroy what you care about most. I saw you on trial before the world went dark. 3 dead, your family, you monster. Another example. I have seen you break down. While we were on the run, you lost it over this dead dog. You cried for hours. I almost left you behind. And lastly, I have seen you worship them. You didn't see me, but I saw you, whispering prayers for them to spare your life. I saw them give you something, but couldn't make out what it was. This is ominous and this is dark. Everyone understand?
Uh-huh.
Good. So,
Yeah.
Kristen and Jojo, you two are in interesting positions because I am also included in writing brinks. Kristen, Kristen, you are sitting to my left in this metaphorical table, and Jojo, I'm sitting to your left. The player, that's you, Kristen, sitting to the left of the GM, has the secret of their brink safe from other players because it is not another character who has seen what they're capable of, but them.
Oh,
The
great.
GM, I will write the brink for you, framing it instead as they have seen you ... They
good.
have seen you push to the edge, and they want to push you right back there again.
Oh, good.
That is where you're standing, Kristen. Jojo, you get a fun one. You have a unique responsibility. It is you who writes the brink for them, framed as I have seen them ... and determining through it what they are capable of. Through writing this brink, the player in question holds a lot of power to establish the abilities or even identity of them. Because of this, the antagonists that you face in each session of 10 Candles will drastically vary based on whatever brink is established for them at the play. Here's some good examples, and it's very important to remember this, Jojo. There are no restrictions when establishing the brink for them. You can be as specific or vague as you want. Since every game of 10 Candles has a different style of antagonist, any number of horror tropes can be embraced. They can be robots, aliens, zombies, demons, shapeshifters, nightmares, ghosts, hive-minded creatures, insects. Maybe they serve a mysterious lady in red, or gain the knowledge of anyone they kill. Perhaps they were created by man, or some ancient and elder god. They may be darkness incarnate or flesh and blood. They may die, or they may be death itself. They may speak in lies and whispers, or lay traps and illusions of light and safety. Maybe they hunger. Maybe they hate. Maybe they remember. There is only one rule, Jojo. Brinks, for them, can only establish a strength, power, or identity. It can never establish a weakness. They only have one weakness: the light. Do you understand this?
You've given me a power that...
Yes, I know. So here's some examples of some brinks for them. I have seen them move like shadows, shapeshift in front of me, howl at the pale moon, consume the dead, possess the living. I have seen them, and I know this is all an experiment. I have seen them, and they serve the Witch of the Woods. I have seen them, and they are the gods made manifest. You have the freedom to determine this identity. The way brinks work, as you're all writing these out, and by the way, what you're going to do is you are going to write these down, and you're going to PM your neighbor what their brink is. I will repeat who your neighbor is if you have forgotten, but just to keep it secret, you will private message them. The way brinks work is after rolling to resolve a conflict, if your brink is active, and again, I will talk about what active means after we finish this step, you may choose to embrace your brink after failing. This allows you to re-roll the entire dice pool. When a brink is embraced, the full pool of dice must be re-rolled, even dice that had landed on a 6. Once the re-roll was resolved, if it was successful, in that at least one dice landed on 6, or in the case of a hope die, a 5 or a 6, the conflict is successful. You lose all 1 dice and proceed with narration as normal. Unlike traits, with a successful brink reroll, you get to keep the brink and may continue to embrace it in future conflicts. You may even embrace your brink again in the same scene, unlike other traits, which you can only do 1 per scene. However, if a brink is embraced and the roll fails, no dice, as in like no dice land on 6, or in the case of a hope die, none of them land over 5 or 6, you have been consumed by your brink. You must immediately darken a candle, lose your hope dice if you have any, and burn your brink. This is the only way a hope die can ever be lost, is by failing your brink. Like with traits, they don't need to be directly tied to overcoming an encounter in order to be used, they just need to be tied to the outcome, into the outcome narration. Everyone understands?
Sort of.
Great.
Yeah. Also, my dog's snoring really loudly out
No
now.
worries.
Don't know if you can hear it.
Interesting, Jojo.
I have a little question for Jojo and Phil. Will I be messaging Phil? Like, would I specifically message his actual Discord thing for this?
Because Jojo, and I'll just make sure they're not looking.
Okay. Yeah. Cool.
I'd kind of like to hear about your character again, Walrus, just because I want to make sure this makes sense.
Yes.
Wait, am I not doing for Walrus?
No, I thought I was doing for Walrus.
No, Kristen, you're giving yours to Phil. Texas Walrus. Yeah.
Stop stealing Walrus from me.
I'm sorry, he's mine now.
No worries.
Who Mike?
Phil, yours is Tex.
Yes.
Phil, give me a rundown of your boy.
Quiet, kind of smart. Imagine Violet Beauregard, but she didn't talk. So the better version of Beauregard.
Couple things I want to add real quick for you guys, by the way. Just for example, if you wrote a player's brink as "I've seen you throw the world into darkness. I know this was your fault." Just want to stress there aren't any real restrictions, but brinks have the potential to be used more than once. So try not to tie these to a specific one event. A little more flexibility is for the better. For example, in that case, you could write, "I've seen you play God." And then as a description, you could write, "I know that you're a scientist. I think you're behind this." That way you kind of leave it open-ended. And that player could use that brink whenever they were doing some mad science. That being said, you can totally use brinks to establish things as being true. For example, "I've seen you fire indiscriminately into crowds just to kill one of them with that gun you keep hidden." Now you have established that they have a gun that no one knows about, except for you, of course. For the person who's writing, Jojo, for you, for an example, and I love the one you sent me, there aren't any real restrictions. As long as you don't define a weakness, you can use the brink to define as much or as little as you want. If you have a good idea, feel free to write down, like, I've seen them teleport. It's just as valid as, I've seen them. They are government scientists, and we are their test subjects. And you know this about them. And there's nothing preventing you from sharing it with everyone else at the start of the game. So it's up to you. I see the one you sent me, and that is very interesting.
Jojo, could you remind me of your character's traits?
Yes. She's oh, frick, sorry. A lot of papers. She's tall, skinny, do I say the vice and virtue too?
No.
They're public.
Oh, yeah.
Owen.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, they are.
Alright, charismatic and brittle, and tall freckles, blue eyes, and easygoing, and very talkative.
Okay.
And Tex, could you give me a rundown of yours as well?
Oh, okay. So, let me flick back to the page. She's ex-Navy, charged 5 years ago, under weird circumstances. I probably didn't mention that. Oops. And she's bravery. Vice is impulsive.
So Jojo, in regards to yours, that's great. If you want, you can add an extra phrase or two at the end. You can keep it as just that, but if there's anything else you want to embellish on, feel free. There are no restrictions on what you can do here, man. As long as it doesn't give them a weakness.
Okay.
I'm good with what I said.
All right, I dig it.
George, I will send you a private message, and
Yeah.
once you've read it, I will delete it so Phil doesn't geek. You got it?
He's a good boy. He doesn't flinch, does he?
He's crunchy.
No,
I'm
Crunchy.
gonna send you yours, Phil. I assume that you'll look at it on your phone.
yeah, I don't have a working phone.
Oh, cool. Well,
Send it to Jojo, and Phil will have Jojo look away.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you send yours first then, Kirsten.
Hang on, let me do that sweet copy paste. Deleted. Okay, I'm gonna send it to Jojo, and then I'm gonna delete it if I can find. There we go. Once upon a time, kids, Jojo's icon was a companion cube, and it was a companion cube for years. And recently it's changed. And now I can't find Jojo ever again.
Jojo is lost.
Jojo's lost. Okay.
Jojo
you got
is
it,
lost.
Jojo is the lost.jpg. I have seen them, and they are lost.jpg.
Just let me know when you're good so I can delete it, Phil.
Oh, these are all very strong things. I'm very excited. I am currently writing out yours, Kristen.
Oh, goody. Did we
Yes.
send you the brink that we sent to the person as well, or is it
No,
just between?
it's a secret from me too.
Oh, goody.
Yes. If you want to, like consult with me, I can know. It doesn't necessarily impact the narration. But if you think
No,
you got a
I
good...
like secrets.
Yeah, exactly. If you think you got a good grasp on it, by all means, be my freaking guest. It's all fine and good. Kristen, can you remind me your details again?
Jane is in her 50s. She's a biker lady who lost her whole biker gang when they were attacked by them. Oh, also her virtue is she's got bravado, and her vice is she's cowardly.
Okay. I'm gonna PM you yours right now. I'm sending you what they have seen you do.
Woo, goody. Wow, Xander, thanks.
I'm gonna send you yours now, Jojo. Okay.
Okey pokey.
All right.
Phil, did you see yours?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Phil, I asked you to tell me so I could delete it. Please.
Oh, sorry. We got push to talk on. I thought I did. Sorry, my bad.
No. Okay.
It's
All right.
okay.
I'm gonna send you yours, Jojo. Phil, look away.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
Look away, Phil, look away!
Oh boy. I love all the freaking crunch memes that people are doing in the chat right now.
Big crunch.
Big
This is
crunch.
all that we're going to be remembered for.
Yep. Thanks, Tex.
Crunchy time.
Yeah.
Sound like.
Yeah, this is gonna be real bad if we keep the crunch time going.
Does it sound? Jojo, does this sound
It sounds crunchy, my dude.
Yeah.
fucking amazing?
Kristen, does yours sound aight?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Cool.
Presumably, we should write these down.
Yeah. If the ones you have been given, yes, write them down. And the
Okay.
ones, and of course, you wrote the ones for other players, so your characters know that one. But yes, your personal one.
You know when you give a description of it, do you
Mhm.
have to tell the person like when you saw them doing it as well?
You can if you want to. Yeah, you can specify when, if it was like before or after the apocalypse or whatever else you want to go with. Absolutely.
Okay, you got that written down, Joj?
See.
All right, I'm deleting the message, so no shenanigans can happen.
So, let everyone sound off once you have received your brink.
I'm good.
I've got it.
Great.
Me too.
Wonderful. All right, we move on to the next step. Step 6, we are going to arrange our stacks. You should all have a hidden brink, a concept, a moment, and 2 traits written on your paper. I have the brink for them. Over the course of the game, you get to slowly work through these, one by one, each of them burning away. Now we need to arrange these into a stack. Set the concept card aside, and that's since that one is just for your reference. The stack is only composed of your 2 traits, your moment, and your brink. Stack them in whatever order you want. However, all brinks should be on the bottom, and ideally, not more than 1 moment should be on the top. Because this is what I meant by a trait or something being active. When something is on the top of your stack, it is active. You cannot use anything underneath it until that one has been used. So, for example, if your moment is beneath your virtue, you cannot have an active moment until you've burned your virtue away. So, this is a little strategic thinking on your part. Build it however you want. Just brink must always be on the bottom, and ideally, for everyone's sake, not more than 1 moment on top at the start.
Don't we already have 1 moment?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, between all of you, like, at the start of the game, it's ideal if only one of you has a moment on top of your deck.
How does the concept card fit into this at all?
No, that's off to the side. That's just for your personal reference. Only the top card of each stack is active. Like I said, you may not burn a trait until it is active, even if it relates to the scene at hand. Although, you may incorporate the trait into your roleplay. However, you can't use it for mechanical benefit. You may not live your moment until it's active, though you may begin steering yourself, or rather, begin steering the narrative towards it. Like I said, brinks are always played face down at the bottom of each stack, and they are only embraced after everything has burned away when we see what you're truly capable of. While you may hint at your brink through roleplay, you should avoid succumbing to your brink outright before it becomes active. After that, go crazy. Once stacks are built, they are locked and cannot be changed.
So
Yeah,
there.
I feel as though I've missed something. You're saying stack, but as far as I can see, there's only one other thing to stack, which is the moment. Are you saying we stack our vices and virtues as well?
Yes,
or?
yes. You stack the vice, the virtue, the moment, and the brink on the bottom. In any order you want.
Okay.
Except for,
Right.
like I said, brink's always on the bottom. Stack the rest in any order you want.
Okay, I'm with you. Sweet.
Great. All right. Before we head into step 7, I'm going to describe some more gameplay mechanics real quick now. So, once we begin the first scene. We play through the module, which is introduced, and I can recap it if everyone needs it, but if we're good, we can continue. However, I can expand upon it as an opening, or I can reread it. Either one works. Once the scene has been set, and before fully diving into the narrative, you guys will have one more task ahead of you. I will save that until it is the moment. After that, the first scene begins. Play continues onward, broken up by conflicts as needed, until the first candle is darkened. Basically, as you guys play through 10 candles, your characters will come up against challenges that require skill, smarts, a steady hand, a stroke of inspiration, or just a bit of luck. They may kick down doors, round risky corners, or shine a light into the darkness, never entirely sure what they may find. In any situation where a character is attempting to overcome something that is complex, risky, or which simply has an unknown outcome, I may choose to call for a conflict roll. Only one player, the active player, may roll for a given conflict. Typically, whoever suggests the course of action that prompts the conflict, or whoever is performing the action, such as whoever is opening the door, driving the car, pulling the trigger, etc. Some conflicts, such as searching for supplies, remembering detailed instructions, or fighting against them, may be attempted multiple times by different characters for a variety of outcomes. Each attempt requires its own conflict roll. To resolve these conflicts, the active player will roll the communal pool of dice shared by all players. This is 10 d6s, and that's what it is at the start. The communal pool of dice equals the number of lit candles. So as the candles burn away, your chances of success diminish. This pool, as I said, 10 six-sided dice, will fluctuate, gradually sinking in size from scene to scene. When you need to overcome conflict, you roll the communal pool of dice. If any of them land on 6, the conflict succeeds. If none of the dice land on 6, the conflict has failed. In the case of a successful roll, the player immediately loses all the dice it landed on 1 from the communal dice pool, and those are set aside for the remainder of the scene and given to me. In the case of a failed roll, a candle is darkened, the communal pool of dice is refilled, but only up to the number of now lit candles for the new scene. The remaining dice at the end of a scene are transferred to me. So at the end of when there's 9 candles, I get 1 die. So whenever a player makes a conflict roll, I will also roll the dice in my pool, if I have any. This pool starts at 0 and will fluctuate in size as the game proceeds, gradually increasing in size from scene to scene. I do not need to roll to succeed or fail. Only the player, you guys, can succeed or fail. Instead, I'm rolling to win narration rights over the conflict's outcome. Whoever rolls the most 6s wins narration rights and gets to narrate what the success or failure looks like. This is where it comes into us sharing the storytelling, you guys getting to build off of things, you know? So essentially, while I am the master of the game, all of you get to be storytellers. When you win narration rights, it means that the power is in your hands to describe what happened as a result of the conflict. For example, winning narration rights while kicking in a door would allow you to narrate what you find on the other side. If you were stabbing one of them with a wooden stake, you would get to say what happened as a result. Keep it simple, reasonable, and interesting. Keep in mind, no one is playing to win. We're all playing to tell a good story. And when determining the winner, ties will always break in my favor, and I will always narrate the outcome of a failed conflict. Here's a couple of other mechanics. A thing called seizing narration. If you guys succeed on your conflict check, but I roll an equal number or more 6s, and therefore win narration rights, you, the active player, may choose to seize narration. In order to do this, you choose to darken one of the candles. This does not cause the conflict to fail. Instead, you win the narration rights and may narrate the outcome of that successful conflict. However, as soon as you finish narrating that outcome, the scene ends, as darkened candles usually do. I'm going to repeat what hope dice are. If you have successfully lived a moment, you earn a hope die, which can be rolled as part of the communal pool of dice whenever you are rolling to overcome a conflict. So, like, you cannot have, like, for example, if JoJo has a hope die, you can't have Phil roll with your hope die. They succeed on a 5 and a 6, and they are not lost on a 1. They can only be lost if you fail your brink roll. Just for the record, even though hope die succeeds on a 5 or a 6, only a 6 counts towards winning narration rights. So, just for a record. Jojo, you have a question?
Are we going to be taking a break during this stream at all?
We are going to take a break, literally, right after we finish this. We'll be taking a quick break, because when we begin, we want the immersion and to keep carrying through. It'll be like a short, maybe 10-minute break after we finish creating everything, and then we play. Sound good to everyone?
It's ready to be scared.
Great. One more thing. Well, not one more thing, but a couple more things I meant to say. There's a thing called dire conflicts. This is, I may choose to label any conflict as a dire conflict if failure would result in lethal or ruinous consequences for whoever is involved. For example, jumping out of the way of an attack or diving from a moving car before it plummets off a cliff could both be considered dire conflicts. If the conflict roll is unsuccessful, as with all conflicts, the candle is darkened, and I narrate the more severe outcome. The stakes are much higher, and the failed roll might result in you becoming gravely injured, the group being separated, the loss of equipment, or any number of other heavy consequences. In addition, any player, not just the active player, may, if they deem thematically appropriate, choose to have their character die as a result of the failed dire conflict. In this case, the candle is still darkened, but the player who made the sacrifice wins narration rights over the failed conflict as well as their character's death. A voluntary death in this manner is the only time when a player may narrate the results of a failed outcome. Of course, we've talked about burning a trait, which is your vice and your virtue. If you can use that to re-roll any ones and take the new roll. That trait, when you use it, must be worked into the narration and the conflict of the roleplay outcome for good or for ill. You cannot use both of your traits in the same scene. We talked about embracing a brink, so we all know what that means. Any questions?
A moment only happens once, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, brinks can happen multiple times, though.
So, in terms of moving through the deck of things, is it like, how exactly does it function? Just one more time.
So basically, you once you have oriented the order of the stack, they are locked in that position. The card on top, the brink must always be at the bottom of the deck. The card on top is active. You have to burn through that active trait before you can access any of the other ones beneath it in the deck. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Great. Okay. Here is really the last thing you guys got to know. And this is the important one. When a candle is darkened, a scene ends. And this is an opportunity for the story to move forward. Not unlike in a film or a book, when the characters have suddenly arrived at their destination. The circumstances have changed, and new things have become true. This is done by establishing truths, which is a special phase of the game that occurs at the end of every scene. Establishing truths is a phase of the game in which the players and the GM have the opportunity to create new truths about the story. This allows you to move the narrative forward and change it in new and exciting ways. All establishing truths phases begin the same way. Immediately following the candle being darkened, indicating a change of a scene, I state the following. I say, "These things are true. The world is dark." I speak this phrase every time we begin a establishing truths phase. Once I say that, I will ask you to go around clockwise, which the order, again, if you want to write it down, the order of the clockwise is Kristen, Phil, Tex, Walrus, and Jojo. That is the clockwise order. And as I go around, you each establish a single truth. This will continue for a number of truths equal to the number of now lit candles. So, for example, 9 truths means that there are we will give 9 truths. Starting, I say the first phrase, Kristen goes around, then Phil, then Tex, then Wallace, and Jojo, back to me until we have 9 truths. If the previous scene's candle was darkened due to a failing conflict or seizing a narration rights, the player who establishes the player that establishes the first truth will be the person who failed the conflict or seized narration rights. So while in the clockwise order for me it is Kristen, if Walrus was the one who failed the conflict or darkened a candle, Walrus would label the first truth, and then from there we'd go in the clockwise order. After Jojo is me, and then back to Kristen. And then otherwise, if well, we're not playing with real candles, so they can't extinguish naturally. So that's just how it is. I can't do that. So all establishing truth phase ends the same way, with the final truth not being spoken by a player, but by all of the players collectively. The final truth, and this counts as one of the truths in the order. So, you know, if we have 9 truths, we all come up with 8 truths, and then the 9th one will always be, and we are alive. So, for example, if I say, if I give a truth of, I'm trying to think of a good example. You have reached the police station safely. If that was the 8th truth, and this is the 9th truth, let's all do a rehearsal. So after me is the phrase we all say in that you all say in unison. I go, you have arrived safely at the police station.
And we are alive.
Oh, do we all say it together?
Yeah, you all say it together. So one more time.
Hard.
No, it doesn't have to be, because we're not playing together, it doesn't have to be in unison, just everyone does have to say it as part of the ritual. So I will say, you have all arrived safely at the police station.
And
We are
alive.
And you know, it's even more ominous that it kind of echoes. You know, it's overlapping, so that works just fine. So yeah, you all speak that, but only the players who are still alive speak that truth at the end of every establishing truths phase. Got it? If you are down, once we are down to the final candle, I will say, these things are true, the world is dark. The and we are alive would be the only truth spoken, because there's only one candle left. So, in that case, you get it. So, the ability to speak truth is a powerful resource. When you speak the truth, you may establish any one thing as an irrefutable fact of the story. Each truth can only pertain to a single change in the story, but the change can be anything. Perhaps you have reached the hospital you've been looking for, or found a stray dog wandering the streets. Maybe you found a loaded gun tucked away in a broken-down police car, or have caught sight of something lighting up the sky in the distance. Truths can be helpful or harmful. They can establish facts about characters, the environment, equipment, or dangers yet to come. Truths can be beneficial, establishing a cache of weapons and supplies you come across, or they could be, they could be light and thematic, describing a budding spring rainstorm, or they could be dark and foreboding, hinting at a swarm of them lying in ambush just over the next ridge. When establishing truths, remember that while you are your character's advocate, you are also their adversary. Establishing truths is a fantastic way to overcome problems, but also a great way to create new ones. Once something is true, it is true. While you can build off of truths of others, you cannot contradict them. So, for example, each truth should be about a single thing, just to recap, that is now true. If you want to establish that the survivors have reached the fallout shelter, you should not also establish if the shelter has power. Just the one fact. However, these truths could be established by other players. So if Kristen said, we have arrived at the fallout shelter, Phil could say, the power is out. And then Tex could cut in and say, there are still people inside clinging to hope. Like, you can build off of each other, but you cannot say more than one truth. In this way, they snowball off of one another. Of course, I am also speaking truths as well. And so that might be for ill or for good. And once the final truth has been established, the next scene begins. At this point, the communal player pool of dice refills up to the number of lit candles, and all other dice are given to me as part of my pool for the rest of the game. Concerning the weaknesses of them, the dark and the sunless sky, only I may establish truths about these. Such things are not for you to decide, only to fear. You may not make truths about them. Or, sorry, well, you might make, weaknesses.
Truth, they are crunchy.
I hate. I have nothing but hate in my heart.
Good, you're ready to play this game.
Exactly.
I can see what makes the taste of cinnamon toast crunch. So.
Here's a fun example. Here's a fun example that the game manual includes as a truth phase. The GM kicks off. The GM says, "These things are true. The world is dark." The players go around. Here, the first truth. Ward found something under the hood of the bus, something hard like a chipped piece of a claw. He hasn't really had a good chance to look at it yet, but he pocketed it quietly. Another truth. The next truth after that is, we've reached the police station quietly. There are lights on inside. The whole thing seems to be lit up by a generator, but it's not long for this world, just like the one back at the school. There's some movement inside, but we can't make out who or what is in the situation. We don't know it yet, but there are 2 officers in there. They're badly wounded. Whatever wounded them is still inside. And then after that, everyone says, "And we are alive." And the scene begins. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Any last questions?
I
No?
think we good.
All right. Last
Why
but
did
not
my wife leave me?
Jennifer
last
dumped me.
I am your wife.
last but not least, you guys. Step 7 of character creation. I like this one. Step 7. Yeah, I know.
I swear to God, if you say pass it to the person to your left,
No.
I'm gonna shit on you.
No. Step 7. Inventory supplies. Your character has whatever you've got in your pockets. Equipment
Me.
beyond this can only be acquired through establishing truths or conflicts to locate supplies. I now light the final candle.
When you
When
say
you say-
what you've got in your pockets,
You,
do you mean
yes.
like IRL pockets?
IRL, what you have in your pockets. Everything else, all of your other gear must be acquired through establishing truths or conflicts.
I have dust lint.
Yes.
I've got tissue and a
I
pen.
have big pockets, so I
I
carry
am
a
in
lot.
my pajamas. I just have my phone.
Then you have a phone.
That's much better than what I have.
Okay, so I've got
Oh, and I have a
keys,
lollipop
a
as
wallet
well.
full of helpful things. Oh, actually, you know what? Fuck you guys. I knew this would come in handy one day. My dad bought me a tactical card with a bunch of little tools on it. You know the ones?
Oh my
So
god.
fuck you. That's what I got, as well as a lighter.
Yeah, I got a lighter too.
I have a phone and a strawberry lollipop, and that's about it.
Now
I
that's
have a
good.
phone and
Courage.
tissues,
Write
I
it down.
guess.
I have a whole heap of courage.
I have a whole ass piece of courage.
And a healthy mindset
Oh,
and
and the 2
attitude.
pens that I also took. Does that count? I have
Yeah,
3
if
pens,
there's in your
but I'm
pockets,
using
yes. Great.
I also have a pencil.
Great. Everyone write these things
Just
down.
put that in your pocket right
Shut
now,
up!
you
I
cheater.
love pencils.
Cheater.
I'll kill you.
Alrighty. Well, everyone has their characters. Everyone has everything written down and established, and we are ready to begin a story. So, we're going to launch ourselves into a break now, and we will begin when we come back in just a couple minutes. I will see you all soon.
Just repeatedly lighting your candle with your fucking
Yeah.
lighter.
No, I'm lighting my lighter because I like
You
fire.
freaking pyromaniac.
We will be
Yeah.
Fuck.
we will be
Call
right
me.
back.
You're gonna burn your house down in the interval.
Hello everyone. Welcome back. We will now begin our game of 10 candles. 10 days ago, something or someone blotted out the sky. Now no stars can be seen. All communication with satellites has been lost, and the sun no longer lights up the sky. 5 days after this anomaly occurred, they came. No one knows exactly who or what they are, but 2 very important things are clear. They fear the light, and they are coming for you. Following their appearance, terrified humanity lit up the world, causing massive large-scale blackouts. Now those who are left cling to dying generators and unreliable flashlights. Small patches of survivors huddled by radios, listening hopefully for news about military rendezvous points or rumors of some illuminated oasis to reach them. But even with a slightly distracted by Walrus's bull.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. But even with a destination to reach and hope to guide them there, the woods are lovely dark and deep, and there are miles to go before you sleep. Your job is simple. Ride into town, retrieve any survivors, and get them to safety. The Humvee is loaded with more than enough gas to get there, but you'll need to stop at a local station for refueling to get out again. Not too much room for passengers, so your team will have to be creative when you see what you're dealing with. The helicopter pickup at Drop Point Delta is arriving in less than 2 hours. You've got guns and enough floodlights to surround your car with a halo of protection, at least for now, but little else. There's supposed to be a safe house on the way into town that might have some supplies, if it hasn't already been picked clean. For now, though, the drive is long and the roads are dark. Be ready. Before you guys embarked on this journey to Drop Point Delta, you all decided to record one last message. one last broadcast to send out there into the world. To anyone who may hear you, this may be a statement, a message to a loved one. That is up to you. This is your last message out into the world before embarking on this journey. Beginning in the clockwise order, I pass the recorder. You may begin your message.
Shoot. I didn't know that was how we were gonna start. Thanks. Well, a storm is coming. I don't know. I don't really have anyone to talk to anymore. They're out there, but that's fine, because we're here too. And I think that's enough. I pass the recorder off.
Pause 1 second. Continue.
What? I passed it off.
I know. I said continue. Failure next.
Oh shit. Yeah, he's fucking Greg's gonna actively say nothing.
My brother
Hold
doesn't
on.
talk much.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. I'll start, and then Jojo, you can say that for a few seconds. Okay.
Gotcha.
You're good.
My brother doesn't talk much, but I doesn't talk much. I'm sorry. And I pass the recorder off.
Okay. Tex, you're next.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to try and make it right. That's it. I pass the recorder off.
Okay. Lastly, Walrus, whenever you're ready in character.
Okay, full disclosure, if any of us survive this, anybody who has went into my bar and didn't pay their tab, they're fucking paying it. Alright? Don't care if it's the end of the world. You gotta pay your dues.
Listen, I'll pay you back.
Dude, that is so disorienting. Fuck you.
Yeah, honestly.
Listen, I swear, I will pay you back when we get through this.
Sudden and unexpected extreme Scottish. I am not at all opposed to what just happened. All right.
Currently,
Well,
the only viable evidence that Walrus is actually Scottish.
right.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers!
All right then.
Hooray!
All right. So you have all recorded the message.
No, I didn't. Oh,
But
frick, no.
you did. I mean, did you want to add more? Because you did
no,
cut in
but-
during Phil's part. If there's more you want to add, you can say it. If you want, let me know, and I will let you record it.
Do you have anything?
Yeah, I got one thing.
Okay, cool. Let me give me 1 second. All right, you are free to go whenever you want.
This is a big one. I only read this kind of thing in books, but hopefully those books have taught me a lesson. Let's make the most of it.
All right. You have all recorded your message out into the world, and you began your journey. The road has been long and dark so far. You guys have been driving for a while, and there's still a ways to go, and only 2 hours until the helicopter arrives at Drop Point Delta for pickup. You guys are on the dark, long road in your Humvee, cramped, but there could be worse situations. Outside, beyond the headlights, is just the dark of the world. Under a starless sky, the headlights and the halo of floodlights that you've mounted to the top of the Humvee illuminate the immediate surroundings, a halo of protection. Ahead, the road continues off for miles into darkness, around dark woods on all sides surrounding you. You pass by a sign notifying you that the town is only a handful of miles up ahead. Knowing the directions you've received, there is a safe house on the way into town that you guys have heard about. So that would potentially be a first stop. But for now, the road stretches ahead, and we now enter into free play, and I hand it off to begin.
So, what are your stories?
My story is I fucking hate cars and I miss my bike.
You rode a bike?
What
kind of bike?
Fuck. But I'm like, bikes! Fuck, what's the one? It starts with an H. Harley, that's what it's called. That's the only one I know. This was a mistake. Harley, doesn't matter. Either way, I'm driving. Scooch over.
Oh, I wasn't driving. All right.
Yeah, I know you weren't driving. You're still taking up space.
Fair enough.
We're not having the 15-year-old drive, are we?
Obviously not, because I'm driving. I'm
You guys
telling
could
her to
teach me
move.
if you wanted to.
I'm telling her to move because I need space. That's all.
Sorry.
When you say space, like, do you mean what kind of space are you talking about? Because
Just to move. It's fine. Right. Anyway. The point is I'm driving. That's the story.
Yeah, go ahead. Take over the driving in the middle of actually driving down the road.
Well, I just wanted to establish that she was the one driving. That's all.
No, okay, no, I was just doing this.
Just figured I'd go with it. Sorry. Anyway.
Jane, up ahead, as you're in the middle of this discussion, you turn back to face the road, and you notice that there is a tree fallen on the road that you almost slam into, but are able to squeeze the brakes just in time to come to a sudden halt in the middle of the road.
Shit.
holy shit, how many of you people were not wearing seatbelts?
I always wear
Hopefully-
mine.
Hopefully y'all were wearing fucking seatbelts.
Just heard a lot of wheezing. Jesus.
Mine nearly choked me, that's why.
Never ridden in like a Humvee before, so this is a new experience. These are tight seatbelts. Jesus Christ. Okay. Where are we off to then? This is a tree. Can we drive the car around it? That's the real question.
The tree covers the entire length of the road currently. The Humvee is equipped with a tether and hook, and can kind of like pull things, like lightly tow things. You could certainly attempt at pulling the tree off the road if you wanted to keep driving in the Humvee.
Well, as much as I would love to walk the rest of the way down, I'm good. I think we should try and get this thing moving.
I second that.
If you don't mind, I'll do the hooking. Sorry, I like... When it comes to these sorts of things, I just want to make sure that I've got it done, basically. It's not that I'm sure you could do it. Yeah. And then Neve coughs a little and hops out of the car to prepare the winch.
Okay.
You've got this. Jane
if
pointedly remains in the car, but very encouraging.
Sure. Outside, you step out into the cool night air. It is deathly silent outside. As you step out, the floodlights mounted atop the Humvee do provide a nice radius that encompasses enough of the tree that you are comfortably within the light for the entire experience. As you grab the hook from the front and begin pulling it out towards the tree. As you approach the tree, you notice that the trunk is covered in a number of deep gashes. Not ones that felled it, but there are several scratch marks on the tree. Luck be with you that enough of these deep claw marks are as decent a place as any to anchor the hook in to drive.
Remind me, Xander, how does burning your things work?
You get to
your deck.
you get to burn if your traits. If you burn a trait, your vice or your virtue, you get to re-roll any ones that you've rolled for a conflict. Your moment can only be applied when you have reached an area where your moment would be viable in the narrative.
Right.
But yeah, you can use a vice or a virtue after you make a conflict roll.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Which
Well,
go ahead.
Neve is going to try and get the winch in of the more deep gashes to
Sure.
try and
Sure.
this thing in.
All right, so you take the winch, easy enough. You sink it deep into one of the claw marks on the trunk. Seems stable. All right, yeah. Anything else you want to do out here?
Is anything moving out there?
Now, this is actually the fun part where I will allow a conflict check. As you survey the woods, you look into the unknown, in the darkness beyond the rim of protection. Go ahead and roll 10 of the d6. If there are 10 candles still lit. A 6 is needed to succeed. Any ones will be removed.
Oh, that's just
the
1d6.
So roll
Oh
roll
my
10.
God.
Roll 10. Yeah, punch in the number 10 into the digital.
So
It's okay.
are 10d6.
Yep.
Okay.
And so we darken our first candle. You
Oh,
roll.
fuck.
You roll
I'm
no
scared.
6s. First of all,
Would I be
Oh, wow.
able to use my trait for this?
to re-roll the one of the ones, and the off chance that it might give you a 6. If you want to, you are most definitely welcome to.
Scratch that. Let's just make it. Let's just
Okay.
let's just go with it. See how this goes.
Sure. Well, here's what I'll say. You look out into the dark of the woods, surveying for anything dangerous, just casually, when you see a dense flutter of movement between the narrow gaps of the trees. Several shapes darting. You hear the telltale signs of a swarm of them far in the distance, not approaching, but watching you. And then just as quickly as they appeared, they are gone. You turn back to the tree, and it is gone. You never was there. Something is wrong, but the road is ahead, and you are all shaken by this experience.
Oh dear.
These things are true. The world is dark. Starting with Walrus.
Though the initial experience of the tree's disappearance was frightening, the road to the gas station was clear.
Jojo.
What do we do now?
You establish a new truth for the new scene.
We're establishing truths.
Yeah, so
Oh,
Walrus just
okay.
said that like the rest of the journey to the safe house was uneventful. So you get to establish a new truth.
Well, I found something.
What did you find?
I found an ice pick.
Ah, you found an ice pick. All right. Okay, my turn. The safe house is an old bar just on the outskirts of town.
The lights are on in the safe house. Okay. Oh man, darn it! I'm like I had. Oh dang it.
It's okay. Keep going. So Phil's next.
The lights are on and there's music playing.
Okay.
The doors appear to be heavily locked.
Tex.
It might go.
Yep.
There is a flicker of movement in the windows of the safe house.
Walrus again.
Neve used to work here.
And for the 8th truth, Jojo again.
We should try looking for key.
And that's no. This a new truth. A new truth.
Ah, frick,
Of the
I'm
scene.
sorry.
Yeah, establishing. a
Sorry,
truth.
sorry.
No worries. No worries. A new truth, and it can be anything. You can establish anything about this scene.
Wait, remind me what Walrus just said. It cut out a little
Walrus
bit on our end.
said that Neve used to work here.
So you gotta build on that.
You don't have to build on that one specifically, but you can make whatever truth you want. Yeah, any truth about the scene.
There is a really old fridge, and it's got a padlock on it.
That's great. That was 8 truths. The 9th and final truth, to be spoken by you all. Go ahead.
And we are
We are alive.
We're alive.
Excellent. So, you guys pull up at the bar outside of town. The lights are in. The lights inside are on. You can make through the lights through the thick bars that occupy the windows. The door seems to be heavily fortified. On the outside, there is a refrigerator, an icebox refrigerator that has a firm padlock locked over it. You can hear the faint thrum of music on the inside, and the signpost out in the parking lot flickers with an occasional electrical impulse, flashing the name of the place as a flickering beacon in the darkness. You have arrived here.
Yes, my favorite bar, flickering beacon in the dark.
Oh god. Okay, it had to be here. Right.
I used to go to this bar.
You did? Oh. Are you? Tell me, what was your experience like, if I may ask?
It's a bar. It smelled a bit like pee, but other than that,
So is that what you put in your Yelp review?
Okay, well, you know what? It's fine. Wasn't my fault. It's fine. Probably blame fucking Derek or something like that. I don't know. So we're getting what? People? Gas? Not to be rude, but are you sure you want to get these people? I mean, sure we can get their gas drop-off point, but
Aren't we running low on gas anyway?
You
We
had enough to get into town. Yes, there is a gas station in town that is deeper into town. The safe house was simply the first stop on the way in. You could always try to siphon more gas if there was available nearby. Just letting you know that there is a gas station you guys are aware of deeper in town.
are there cars about the place at all?
Okay, in the light of the Humvee, there are no cars in the parking lot. There are some burned out abandoned cars on the road. But in the parking lot, there's nothing.
We're gonna have to squeeze over a bit if we want to invite these folks.
well, we should at least ask them if they want to come along.
That's true. Spending your last days in a bar might not exactly be the most, positive outlook on things.
Honestly, it doesn't
Especially
sound that bad.
Well, you've not been inside. Are you okay? Neve looks to Reaver.
Really could use a smoke.
Oh.
So speaking
Doesn't
of which,
smoking make you cough more?
when you've had enough that you're coughing constantly, you may as well just fucking go with it. Anyway, it's the end of the fucking world. The very last thing I is my stupid cough. At the very least, I just want to see if they have any cigarettes.
I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, they just said that there's something blocking the sun. They'll figure it out eventually.
At some point, we are going to freeze to death. Just want to point that out.
I mean, we're people. We know how to make fire, and we've got tons of supplies left for us. Unless, raiders, you know. But we're strong enough to fight them off.
I'll see it. I'll see if I can get inside the bar. And Neve steps outside of the Humvee and starts walking towards.
Wait,
the
do you want
noise.
someone to come with you?
Yeah, I'll
Uh,
go.
yeah. I mean, I
wanted to
wouldn't
see
mind the
them. I
backup.
wanted to go.
What's
Okay,
Greg
let me
doing, by the
think.
way?
So, you're 15.
Yeah.
I'll
River, just stay
go.
in the car.
You stay.
River, the car.
Gregory,
Car.
fine.
All right.
We can't leave the kids in the car on their own.
Ha!
It's okay. We've got the radio.
Well, one of us
Just
should
giving them
stay
more
then.
reasons to make us stay here.
You know what? Fuck it. You know what? I'll stay.
Until they open the door.
You two go.
Really?
All right.
No, I'm talking to Stephanie and.
River,
Shockingly,
until the
I'm
door is
not
unlocked.
talking. I'm
Until we
talking
can
to
confirm
the.
the door is unlocked. It's safer in here. Sit.
Fine.
I'll tell you what though, there is this and Neve points to the padlocked refrigerator. Not to be like, you know, not to instill any bad or illegal activity. There's definitely something in there, something useful. Do with this information what you will. I'm gonna see if I can have a chat with some friendly patrons.
How useful are we talking?
Well, useful enough to make the journey a hell of a lot more nice. Put it like that.
Alright. As you two leave the car, Jane's like, Neve, please get me cigarettes. Just add it to my tab. I don't give a shit.
I'll see if there's any cigarettes under the bar, or at the very least, if they keep them still.
Oh, if they have any Twinkies, can you bring some?
For God's sake, this shit again.
That's not standard bar, kid.
You know what? I'll ask politely.
Oh yeah.
So Neve, you get out of the car.
So,
Please.
yeah,
All right.
I get out of the car.
Neve,
for
you get
sure.
out of the car, and you've parked the Humvee, in a fashion that the door is wrapped in this halo of floodlight. You know, you park pretty smartly. You walk up to the door. It is firmly secured. Yeah, it is closed. It is the type of bar where there are a number of posters and stickers that cover the glass windows of the front doors that you can't actually see on the inside. You can hear the thumping of some music, and just some flecks of light do shine out through spaces in between. The doors are fortified. What do you want to do?
I would like to knock.
All right. You knock on the doors. A moment later, the music still continues to thrum. It doesn't seem like... It seems like it's pretty loud, and you might need to knock louder.
I full fist of my hand to knock, like big loud ones.
You give a
And
hearty...
at the end of it, yeah.
Gotcha.
Some big loud boys.
Big
Big
loud.
loud boys. And a moment pauses. There's a moment, and shortly thereafter, the music doesn't stop, but it dims slightly. The volume is lowered, and you hear a haggard, disgruntled voice calling out from behind the wall, saying, "Who is it then?"
Used to work here, remember?
How long ago?
Oh, Jesus. I left like a month ago, maybe? Seriously, it wasn't that long. You remember me, man.
Neve? Is that you?
Yes, it is me.
How do I know it's you? How do I know it's you, though? How do I know this isn't some kind of trick?
You owe me. Let me the fuck in.
That's a fair point. I barricaded it. I don't have a means of opening it. I don't know how to. I locked myself in here. I, I don't know how to open it from this side. I just closed it up.
You. Wait a minute. How are you in there? Doesn't matter. Wait. Is there any way you can get outside at all? Or are you really trapped in there?
I mean, I trapped myself in here. The door around back, it's locked, but I could peel away some of the furniture I put up against it. I could open that up for you.
Are you the only one in there, mate?
There's a couple of us. They're not doing so well.
Are they sick with something? Are they injured?
I don't know. I don't know what's wrong, but all things considered, it may as well be me. I don't know. Maybe you can help them, but here, I'll move the furniture around back. You can. I don't have the keys. I lost them, but the back door, we never replaced it. It's still pretty shite. You can kick it in and we can re-barricade it afterwards. But if you go around back, I'll have the door unbarricaded.
Remind me, who out of all of us is with me, right?
I think just Stephanie.
Yeah.
I'm just chilling.
Neve turns to Stephanie and shrugs and goes, "So, I don't trust this guy when it comes to paying his tab, but he's not a bad person. Though the fact that he's not telling me about the two people inside is a little bit,
Well, it's disconcerting.
suspect.
I do agree. So, what do you think we should do?
I think we should try and help him. It's already a bit crammed in the... No, we've not even in yet! If we do as much as we can, and if we can't, then we just leave well enough alone and try and help someone who we know we can help. You know? So let's see how bad these injuries are.
First of all, I think we should probably try and move the car around back if we're gonna go around there as well.
Wise choice. Didn't want to get jumped on by any passing nasties. Right. Let's clue them in. Neve knocks on the door once more and yells, "We're gonna park the car around back."
Aye.
And Neve and ready to.
Back as well.
Excuse you, I drive.
Oh.
What's the story?
We
Cookies?
are not gonna. We didn't get in yet, lass. We're gonna get in there, but we just need to go down back first. Doesn't seem to be anything particularly nasty inside. Just a couple of regular patrons, and
Well, two of them are ill. One of them's shifty on his tab.
yes.
Mm.
But shifty on one's tab does not necessarily mean. And Neve strokes her chin a little bit and goes, "Never mind. Let's just go down the back and see what we can find."
Looking at the
Well,
clock.
fuck it.
Looking at the clock in the car, it's an hour and 30 minutes until the helicopter arrives at Drop Point Delta.
Alright, well, let's hurry the fuck up then.
You drive the car around the back, the halo of light illuminating the entire bar, driving around the back where there is a dumpster, and the ground is covered in some dark stains. It looks like blood in several spots across the back parking lot, though you see nothing other than these pools and stains. You pull the car up. You can see the simple gray metal door at the very back of the bar, covered in layers of graffiti. What do you guys do?
Oh, this looks like a shithole.
It's
I
not
don't
usually
like
this.
those stains.
It's not usually this shit. That blood wasn't there before I came in. I'm worried about that. And when...
Who do you think did it?
I mean, there's blood everywhere these days, though. It's... Fuck it.
But the thing is, it's one thing if it's just some asshole, doing a nasty to somebody else. But if it's one of them, not to be like slow and to this idea, but I think we should just fucking run.
Well, we've got the light with us. It's not like they're gonna come up and ambush us while
Yeah,
we're...
here's the thing. They can't handle the dark. There's lights on in there. These guys probably got hurt and then just got dragged where it was safe, that's all.
Well, at least
Well,
we
the
think
bloodstains
the lights
leading
are on.
up to the door, or are they coming away from it?
They're not going in any particular direction. There is just the back lot of the bar is just streaked with dark stains.
Okay.
Is there enough space in the Humvee to fit even a couple more people?
A couple more, yeah.
All right.
I say we go in, see how badly injured these people are. If they're too badly injured, then we take your tab fellow, well, if he wants to come, and get on with it. Oh, see what supplies they have as well.
Cigarettes, I presume, as well?
Yeah.
Yes. I suppose.
You two want to come inside as well? This is probably going to be the last time you're going to be able to get into a working bar. You know.
Don't say that. If we're lucky, they'll make it to... Wait, what's the legal age? 15? Ooh.
Is this set in
If we-
Germany?
Is it Germany where it's 16? Fuck if I know.
I mean,
I read it on Wikipedia that it was like a 6.
Yeah,
There you go,
16 in
this
Germany.
kid's got it.
I'm
like,
looking up that.
No reason, Greg. It's fine.
Let's just... Fuck.
I agree
Come on.
with the...
Okay.
Jane is already getting out.
Okay, Jane gets out of the car.
Someone still needs to stay with the car.
You know what? I'll stay outside. Yeah, that sounds like a
Sure,
good
it's your
idea.
friend.
Alright.
They
Whatever.
know you. They need to speak.
So if there's no one here to watch me and my brother, does that mean we get to come with you guys?
Thomas, okay. There are 5 of us. Neve, kids, have fun in the bar. I'll wait back here with Stephanie because leaving one person out here in the car sounds like a recipe for fucking disaster. We good?
Okay, I'll wait
Okay.
back here.
I can
Let's
take
do it.
So Gregory, Neve, and River exit the car.
Righto.
I just call out to them before they leave. Make sure they check and see if they have any flashlights.
Will do.
And cigarettes.
And I will also look for that too. And Neve knocks on the back.
You knock, you hear the voice from within say, I've moved the furniture. It's fucking heavy. But it should be good. It's the weak lock. You could, if you want to try kicking it in, be my guest. Do it whatever you want.
Alright. Gotta be honest, it's been a while since I've kicked a door. I'll give it a go. And Neve readies a boot.
Okay, this would be a conflict, so go ahead and roll 9d6.
Oh yeah, because we lost one of those, didn't
The
we?
last one.
Yes,
and I will roll
we
1 because it's part of my
did.
pool. That is a success. You lose 3 dice, though, from the pool for your 3 ones, leaving, for the rest of the scene, you have 6 dice. However, Walrus, you succeed. You kick in the door. You get to narrate. You get to narrate the result. What happens? You kick it in, and what's inside?
As Neve kicks the door and the 2 kids look inside, we see an interesting scene. The old, only real patron of the bar, standing a little ways from the door, looking a bit disgruntled, to put it mildly, And near the back, in a booth, a couple. One in tears, and the other teared, slightly open, bleeding.
Okay. You see the patron of the bar puts his hands on his shoulder. He is standing in the hallway leading to the back door you guys just broke in through. He winces but smiles at your sight, beckons you on and says, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you, Nave. Come in, come in. That's a hella bright light you got in your car out there. Any more of you?"
A couple in the actual car itself. 5 of us in total. Thankfully, there is still room in the car, so y'all can come out. And he stops as she sees the couple who are a bit out of sorts.
Mm-hmm. And the patron says, looks at that, sees that you notice. I told you I expect. You got fucked up something good, and she's been unresponsive for the last couple hours.
Maybe I
When
can
did
help.
you let her in? Them in, I should say.
That's the thing. They've been in here with me for just the last couple days now. They went upstairs into the old flat, the one that's connected to the bar. It's where I used to live, but I haven't been up there in a few days on account of it being dark. And he went up there looking for some extra food and whatever else I kept scattered around in my cabinets. Some medicine in case we needed it, but there's something up there. Carved him up mighty good, but he managed to get back down here.
Well, that's disconcerting. So, let me get this straight. There's one upstairs.
I'm not sure if it's still there, but there was. There was.
Right. Not meaning to be a grump here, but let's get fucking moving. I'm not dealing with that upstairs, especially with kids here.
Hey, it's fair. Can you fit 3 of us in your car?
3 at max. It's
mean-
getting pretty full.
Me and Greg could sit on the floor if you guys need some extra seats.
Seatbelts on. And we have.
This is the apocalypse. We don't need freaking seatbelts.
Did you
Seatbelts.
trust me when I say your brother's got it right? Seatbelts, even in the apocalypse, very wise choice.
Willie.
What the fuck up, brother?
I'd say. You go ahead.
The patron peeks out the back door and goes, "Jesus, where'd you get a Humvee?"
Jesus, military lady found it. She's at the front. You can ask her all about that shit, but
Bloody hell. Right, well, if it can be cramped, if you can fit us, you might as well. But if you're... he grabs you by the arm, Neve, and begins to pull you to the side. He grabs you, Gregory, as well, and pulls you off to the side. River, as you look around, the bar, there's an assortment of alcohols behind the bar as well, but there is also a rack with just some simple bar food, just packages of nuts. There's an old jukebox, which is the source of the music that's playing in the area. But you just kind of look around. There isn't much here that you can immediately see. The patron pulls Gregory and Neve to the side and says, we can if we can fit in, that'd be great. But he's been bleeding out something mighty fierce, and the only bandages, gauze we have was still upstairs. I know you said fuck it, but he's not gonna have a chance of making it if we can't stop some of that bleeding. I've used as many rags as I have back here behind the bar, but even then, it's not doing much.
Quick mechanical question, roleplay question.
Yep.
Can the person in question hear us, like at all, in any way?
If
we keep this low hushed down.
Yeah, the guys are keeping it low hushed.
Yes, so the guy we're talking about.
Yeah,
the
does not
guy
hear.
can't hear us.
Yes. Can I hear you? Because you guys talk. What?
you kidding me? We can't take something like that.
Aye.
It's just a disaster waiting to happen.
That's pretty
That's what really matters,
brutal,
Miss
mate. Oh, how do you suspect we kill him? We just in front of her. She's gonna be despondent. I fear what she could do if she breaks. Well,
So our choices are: we either take him with us now, and one of them might die, and the other one might go insane, or we try and go upstairs and one of us definitely gets killed. So, liking our options here.
or as you said, you kill him. I don't find that agreeable, but I don't know. Fuck.
How strong are you two?
Yeah, pretty strong, all things considered. Been sleeping
I
this
mean, I
bar.
just kicked the door down.
Hey.
You hold him down. I'll strangle him.
No, okay, listen.
Wait, hold on.
We
What
didn't-
the fuck do we do about her?
We don't need to do anything. Listen, they're all over there. They're just sitting in their own grief. And shit, we don't even need to do anything. We just go. We could just.
Okay.
We could leave them.
So we leave him to die slowly. That's what you're implying.
I'm saying that I'm not comfortable strangling someone. That's not necessarily an out there thing to say. Besides, they might have a better chance in here than they might do in our bloody vehicle if they're all cramped in that.
Hey.
Never
We
mind.
have what we need and go and just leave them.
Where,
Okay.
might I ask, once we leave, where are we headed?
Well, there's an extraction point, apparently, near town. A place where we can get out.
Heard about that. If I recall, I heard on the radio before I went out, it leaves tonight.
Which is exactly why we need to go soon.
We don't got
Very
much
soon,
time.
in fact.
We don't got much time. We need to move quickly if we plan to get there on time.
Grab anything important that you might think is in the bar, like a flashlight or something like that.
I got a few flashlights. I have a rifle under the bar. The flashlight batteries are fucked, but it's better than nothing. But I can grab a rifle and grab in as many nuts or drinks as you want from the bar. It's pointless now. Oh, he looks at you, Gregory, and he says, "Do whatever you think best, but I'll have no part of it, and I'm not gonna watch." And he walks off, goes around the back of the bar, picks up a rifle, and makes his way to the back door.
So he mentioned that there was a flashlight.
Yeah, there's flashlights on the bar that you said you could take.
Neve takes the flashlight off the bar, and whilst she's doing that, she looks at the couple. How are they looking at the moment? Are they looking at us? Are they paying attention? Or
They
are
are
just...
not currently looking at you guys. They are. The woman is despondent, her head sunk deep down into the crook of her arm, the other hand holding the man's hand as he just lies there, occasionally coughing up gouts of blood and clutching various bloody rags over his wounds. They do not seem to be paying attention to you, but they both look, all things considered, pretty shit.
Does River see this?
Yeah, it's in plain sight on one of the back booths.
Okay.
Neve shakes her head and starts moving to the exit.
Okay, you move to the
And-
exit.
Before she leaves, she puts a hand on Gregory's shoulder and says, "Let's just go." Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And Neve makes a move to the exit.
Okay.
River grabs So how many liquor bottles are out?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot behind the bar on account of this being a bar.
Are they full or broken?
There's a couple that have been shattered, given especially by the strong stench in the air. A lot of them are not full, mostly half to a quarter empty, really. But there's still quite a large amount of liquor present.
I grab a unopened bottle of whiskey.
Okay.
And I stuff it in my shirt and run out, like, after Gregory.
Okay. As you guys are running out, you hear that you River, since you're last around, hear the choking voice of the woman say, "Where are you going?"
Wait, are we just gonna leave her here?
Shh, River.
What?
Where are you going? Are we leaving? What's going
We'll
on?
be right back, man. We'll be right back.
What?
Don't worry.
Wait, what?
Do you have? He needs help. Do you have supplies? He needs help. He's bleeding. His wounds. They're so. I don't know what to do. She just begins to continuously sob and like look after you guys. What are you guys doing?
I'm doing as my brother says and gets in the car.
Okay. Okay, cool. You get in the
Can
car.
we in the car hear this? Or is
Yeah.
it,
Well, back
like-
in the car, you before this happens, the bar patron comes into the back holding a rifle and looks at you two and says, "Hey, good day, lasses. Seems like we're hitting the road, and I have a gun. So I think we're packing.
Well, that's a plus.
Hey, your friends will be out in a moment. A bit of hairy business in there, really. Got a couple of people that wouldn't make the trip, mate, necessarily. And that's when you guys hear the kind of the sobbing from within.
What's good? Are we just gonna leave her?
As bad as I feel about it, it's the... Well, she's too injured, or if someone in there is too injured and she won't leave them, it's probably the best thing we can do.
Is she currently following us out of the
Yes,
the thing, or
she
is
is.
she
She has
just-
gotten up and is like walking towards to see what's going on.
Neve, as she nears the exit of the door, turns to her and
Where? She, like-
stands.
She looks at
You
you and she
go?
says, "Where are we leaving? What's going on?
We're going.
We're going."
And we don't have any medical supplies. None.
Well, we have to find some. I know that there's some upstairs still. You could go get them. There's a gun. You could try looking. We need to get him help. He's really bad.
Quick question: what kind of build is this woman?
She looks like a college student. So she is of a relatively average build, leaning towards to the more lean side. She is dressed in a hoodie that has the name of a local college on it, and some tights, which look like athletic tights. It looks like she's wearing some sort of athletic clothes underneath her hoodie.
Listen, I know this is hard, but you've got a couple of choices here, because we can't go upstairs. That thing upstairs is stronger than us, and we don't have a sure way of actually getting upstairs and fixing this situation.
What are you saying? What are you saying?
I'm saying, please come with us. But
I can't leave him. I can't.
He's dead.
No, he's not. I can't.
Greg!
He's fine. They didn't cut too deep. He's a med student. He said he
comes
would be
with us.
fine.
If he comes with us, we're dead. If you insist on bringing him, you're not coming.
Greg!
No,
Shut up.
you can't. No, you have to. You have to let me. You have to let. And then she like lunges forward and like just lashes out at you guys, just reaching forward and grabbing.
I think Neve is going to try and punch her.
This is a conflict roll.
Yeah.
This
just
is a,
reflexively.
this is a conflict roll. Roll 6 dice.
Alright. 66.
All right, you get 1 success. You get to narrate the outcome.
Like noticing the immediate flailing, Neve just reels back and clocks her, and she collapses.
Of you, because I was about to do that.
She, with 1 hit, okay, great. She collapses to the ground.
Shit.
Oh my god!
The patron and
She
the
just wanted
Hey,
help. Why
nice.
would you do that?
the patron of the
She
Humvee
was
says,
about to
"Oh, go ahead."
listen. She was gonna kill me there. Maybe not kill me, but she was gonna try something. And
But she was just asking for help. She was desperate. She wasn't in the right mindset. We could
The
have
voice,
helped her.
the voice of the patron cuts out from the car and says, "All right, so things are getting hairy out there. I hate to break this up, but we really need to get a move on. Time's running short. Get in the car. You can talk about it on the way." And then he turns, looks at you, Jay, and says, "Sorry, don't mean to usurp your power, lass.
Whatever.
Yeah, fine enough. Get in the car."
listen, don't mean to break it to you, Larry, but there was a lot of things we could have done that were much worse than that. She's alive. She could be worse. Come on.
But
And
she.
he
Get in the
leaves.
car. Just get in the car. Come
Oh.
on. Fucking Greg walks up a bit closer to Neve, pats him on the back, and just kind of nods at him before walking away again.
River
Okay.
follows behind Greg with like a really sour face.
As you guys are walking away from the bar, there is a flicker of lights, and you realize that whatever generator has been keeping this place afloat is beginning to fail.
Jane actually was about to start the car, but upon realizing, immediately was like, "Nope, I'm not leaving. We shouldn't leave her. We shouldn't leave her. God, would she say? Yeah, she'd go fucking no. No, never mind. So she looks like she's considering getting out of the car, and then nope, we gotta go, and then she starts the car instead.
Then you know what?
Let's go.
Well, actually, honestly, this would be a great moment for, since this is if she's going through such a strong moment of conflict, this could call for a conflict check, since it is struggling with the inner unknown.
Yep.
Oh my.
It could shift the narrative possibly. So you could so I'd say roll this. I say this qualifies as a conflict check. Roll 66.
Also, sorry, while you do that, that technically counts as me burning through my vice. What does that then entail? Do I just like get rid of
It's
it,
just
or
a.
fucking put it at the back of the cut? Back of the book? What?
You burn it and it's gone forever.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
So I can still use my vice. I just can now also use my virtue.
Correct. Well, oh, sorry, no,
Or
sorry, yeah,
whatever was underneath my.
Yeah,
whatever was
if you
underneath
if
my
you
vice.
use your vice, have you used your vice yet? No, you haven't.
Well, I
No,
kind of
you,
assumed what I just did was.
no,
the
no, no, no.
best thing.
The using your vice is when you use it to re-roll ones in a dice pool that you do. Yeah. So yeah, yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah. You don't. That's only when you burn it. But otherwise, you can use it roleplay wise. But unfortunately, Kristen, you did not roll a single 6. That means in this moment of panic and frustration, just as Gregory is pulling River into the car, you decide to slam on the brakes. I'm sorry, on the pedal, and with the back door still slightly open, everyone in the car lurches forward and charges off away from the road, and begins to drive off deep into the night.
Damn, that's some good talk. Fuck.
As you guys are driving away into the dark, you hear the screaming of the woman after you as she gets up from the ground. You look back in the rear of your mirror just to watch as the last lights of the bar flicker out into darkness. I extinguish a second candle. These things are true.
God damn.
The world is dark. Kristen, you get the first truth.
We're still following the road.
Phil.
Phil,
Oh,
you're
sorry,
next.
is it me next?
Yep.
Sorry,
Yes, you're next.
Okay, so we're still following the road. The car suddenly bumps, like violently upwards, as if running over something rather hefty.
Fuck.
Tex.
As the car bumps, I notice one of the floodlights flicker slightly.
Morris.
There's a fault with the car.
Jojo.
I look behind us and.
No, the truth. It's the
Oh,
truth.
wait, sorry. Don't laugh at my mistakes, guys.
You get
It's okay.
Fragile.
You're doing great. Just run with what hits you in the moment. Don't try to think too much about it. Just run with it.
A lot of the trees that we're passing are broken. Like, even some big trees are completely fallen in half.
Oof.
All right.
Like there was a big hurricane.
There are houses just off the road. Kristen. This is the last truth before the phrase.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to think of, like, something. My brain's kind of blank right now. Sounds like there's a storm coming. And we are alive.
We are alive.
And we are alive.
And we're alive.
All right. So as the car runs over something in the road, one of the floodlights up top flickers, and it seems the car is suffering some problems, as even though you still have a little bit to go before your tank is empty, there is a backfire from the car, and you catch the faintest whiff of smoke. Not something burning, just something under the hood, definitely not doing great.
Fuck.
The trees around you are shattered and broken, and several dark houses loom in the background off the main road. What do you do?
I get out and inspect the car.
I guess I stopped the car because Stephanie's getting out.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't know if... I'm like, oh, fuck. I mean, if the car's still driving...
Tex just
Okay,
gets
well, if
out
the car's still
fucking-
driving, I don't get out and
Lady
inspect
Bugs.
the car.
Jane's gonna be like, Jane's like, if the car is still driving, we should at least try to get a little further.
Is the car still moving?
It is still moving.
Yeah.
It is still moving. It is beginning to... seems to be some kind of problem with it, though. Do you... Jane, are you decide to keep driving?
I guess I'm trying to see if there's, like, any spot that's even, like, a clearing or anything.
Okay.
Something that would, like, aside... Like, because there's trees wrecked everywhere, right?
Yeah, there are several spots that you can see through the darkness that are wide open enough, all things considered.
I guess we gotta fucking stop, because I would hate for this thing to fucking explode while we're in it. And that ended all 10 candles. All candles went out at once.
Yep.
The car blew up.
Yep.
Fucking
The
dead.
end.
I guess Jane slows to a stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then I get out and inspect the car.
Yeah.
Okay, great. You're going to pop the hood. Sorry, give me 1 second. Why don't you, as you pop open the hood to see what's wrong with the car, it looks like it's just a simple malfunction that could be fixed, but you could try fixing what's wrong with it. Do you want to try?
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
All right, you're going to roll. In this case, it's going to be 8d6.
How do I do that?
So you can type /roll 8d6, roll space 8d6 in the chat of Roll20. You begin to fiddle with the engine of the car. when you notice that part of the underside, you look on the underside of the car, has been cut by what you're not sure. And as you begin to fiddle with that, suddenly there is a spark that shoots out and a loud thump as the entire car shakes. The lights of the Humvee flicker off as the entire car shuts down. These things
Well,
are true.
fuck.
The world is dark. If I can... Yeah, there we go. The world's dark. Tex, you get the first truth.
As the lights flicker out, I hear movement in the trees.
Walrus.
There are batteries in the glove box.
Jojo.
George.
There's a hefty wind.
Up ahead, one of the houses has a light flickering within.
Shoot. Great. We all have flashlights.
Okay. Phil.
And in the far, far distance, you hear an ungodly screeching.
And your phrase.
And we are alive.
You're alive.
We are alive.
You guys have now since unloaded stuff from the car and have moved away from it since it is now thoroughly undone. You guys are beginning to move. Where are you guys going? You are on foot now that the car is fucked. The patron of the bar holds his rifle close to him and is surveying the sounds of the surroundings. Through the darkness of the trees, there is shifting movement like that of shadows being spread by the light, although there is no light, only the darkness. There is a screeching that seems to echo out in strange patterns through the air, from where you're not certain, but it is somewhere, and the wind is picking up. What do you guys do?
Neve firstly makes sure that the flashlight that didn't have batteries in it before has some, and gives it to the patron, who I think for expedience's sake, Neve knows as Derek.
His name's Derek now.
All right.
Yes.
His name's Krusty.
Yeah.
Krusty.
Krusty
Krusty the crab.
All right.
Hey.
So, with all that ready, Derek looks up ahead and says, "All right, either you got to keep moving. The gas station's only about a mile down the road, if I remember correctly. But I don't know if we can get there. Maybe there won't be something there. I have no clue. But what do we do? There's a lot of movement back there."
Can I? What is the quickest way to get to the light without getting hurt?
The quickest way, so one of the houses that is off the road, there is a road that leads there. If you wanted to just follow the sidewalks to that house, you could. But that is up to you if you just want to take it casually, or you could try sprinting. That sprinting wouldn't cause for a conflict roll if you're moving super fast. You got the flashlights, and it doesn't look like there's quite a lot of debris in your way.
I'll run there. I'll see if anyone's there. Fuck it.
All right. So you're gonna, you guys are gonna continue forward.
I
right.
know at least Jane probably.
All right. At least Jane takes the head on this. Then
so...
you approach the home. Within through the windows, there is a flickering light, like that of. You can't tell from here, but there is some sort of light source flickering from within. There is a door at the front of the house. There are windows, and the whole thing What do you want to do here?
Jane runs up the steps and bangs on the door. Just fucking goes for it. Hey,
bang.
let us in! Let us in!
Bang on the door. Why don't you roll me a conflict check?
Okay, so we've got 8 now?
Yeah, you have 7. So 7.
Oh, good.
All right, so
You
let me
could
just roll.
use your trait.
If you wanted to.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you
use
will lose.
bravado. Yeah, I'm gonna use my virtue.
Okay, what is your virtue?
Bravado, which, well...
Okay. Well,
So
so re-roll 3d6 for those 3 ones you rolled.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
You got 2 6s and you beat me out, so you still win narration rights. So you bang on the door. What happens next?
Ah, fuck. I didn't think this far ahead. Okay, so there's some shuffling from inside the house, and, a woman's voice answers? She seems equally scared.
Okay.
I do not play this person, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I don't
sure.
want to play a second person.
No, obviously, no, yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. Well, you can also decide, does she let you in?
You know what? Yeah, she lets us in. She's like, I guess she'd probably ask, like, who we are first, but she seems at least, like, willing once she's... Okay, first she asks, like, how many of us are there, and... So,
Okay.
I don't know.
So she hears the of your numbers, and she nods, and she does agree to let you guys in. She begins to gesture for all of you to making your way here, and so all of you start making your way towards the house. For Gregory and River, you guys are towards the back of the group with Stephanie as you're moving towards the house, and that sharp screeching is getting closer, and the wind's picking up, and there is rustling coming from the shattered woods behind you.
Guys?
Well, I say we should try and get inside.
Yeah, I agree. So is the person actually listening us inside, or are they just considering it?
They're letting you in.
They're
Okay.
letting us in, yeah.
I just gesture for everybody to just book it to get inside.
Okay. You guys begin booking it towards the back of the group. Suddenly, 2 trees towards the edge of the woods suddenly break from their roots and collapse to the ground as you guys are running away. It's still quite distant from you, but that moving darkness moves even faster, buzzing like a cloud of flies. You guys move fast and make it into the house, and you are now inside. The interior of the house, there are no lights present in here, but the flickering is in the middle of this gutted out kitchen in the center of the building. There is essentially a stove fire that this woman has stoked and has been sitting in the camp light. And she welcomes you all in, and she says, "I don't have much here. I'm sorry, but you're welcome to stay here by the fire. Maybe someone else will pass. Maybe there will be help that comes through. I don't know how to help you. I'm so sorry, but if you want anything, if there's anything that I can offer, please take it. This is all I have."
Thanks. Apparently we all made it. Yeah, me too, kid.
Thank you.
I wipe my
Thank
mouth.
you.
Is everyone alright?
As much as I can be, aye.
I still want my fucking cigarettes.
Like the woman perks up and she says, "I have some of those."
You've literally saved my life, except for the lung cancer, but you know.
She
That's fine.
fishes through a pouch she has and pulls out a crumpled but still intact box of cigarettes, and there is 2 sticks left inside.
Jane takes one. Do you care if I light it?
Go ahead.
drinks. And she does so.
Okay.
Does anyone want and I pull out the small bottle of unopened whiskey. Does anyone want a drink?
God, yes.
First of all, you are too young to have a drink.
Let him have a
Hey,
fucking
listen.
drink.
It's legal in England and
No, it's
Germany.
You're
not.
and
15, it's not legal, but who gives a shit?
Well, first of all, I'd like to see you try and drink whiskey.
You think I can't do it, can
And
you?
second of all, I wouldn't.
Why?
Bitch.
Hey!
Bitch lasagna.
Bitch lasagna. You think I can't drink this? I'll show you.
Guarantee.
I attempt to twist the bottle open.
Jane takes it from River and just, pops it open.
Yeah, just easily just.
You got glasses? And a name?
Christina. Yes, there are glasses. Here, and she fetches a few glasses.
Nice.
Can I get one?
No.
I didn't ask you, Greg.
Who's the adult here? Right, sorry, it's me. She can have some.
I'll have you know.
Yeah.
I'll have you know I was born 5 minutes earlier than you.
That doesn't make you old. Wait,
Yes.
hey, but I'm taller than you.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm taller than you. I can lit on your head.
You all notice that.
And I do so.
Yeah, you all notice though that the fire is still lit, but it is dimming with time. It is slowly but steadily going to extinguish after a while. The woman also seems to notice this, and she says, "There's more fire around back, but my flashlights went out. I haven't gone out to get more wood yet."
Well,
Eve clicks hers on
Clicks it on.
and says, "Whereabouts was it again?"
It's around the back of the house. If you go around, you should see it. You can shine your light over there. It's in the wood pile.
Right. I will. Well, I'll go. Can somebody cover my back?
I'll go with you. I don't really fancy drinking at this moment.
Yeah, I've poured enough drinks to know where this goes.
In that case,
Yeah.
I'm going to stay.
Okay, so who's going
It
outside?
was never a question of you going.
I think it'll be me and Stephanie.
Okay, so you guys head outside the house, around the back, shining your flashlights ahead. You turn the corner around the back of the house. The shrieking still all present outside, and as you shine your flashlight around the corner, make me a conflict roll.
Okay. Is it 76? Yeah.
76. And I roll no sixes, so you get narration rights. You turn around the corner, and what do you see?
We see a nice stack of logs, sitting there in the sort of dark section of the cupboard, as well as a crank lamp, a lamp that you can literally just crank and light comes out of. A useful thing for people who don't own batteries.
All right, it sits there. All right.
Neve happily goes for the lamp and looks to Stephanie and goes, do you want to grab the wood, or because I got my hand full, one hand.
Alright, I'll grab the wood. You stay there. And I'll grab
I
it.
will make sure no bad things happen.
That would be beneficial. I go and grab as much logs as I can.
All right. Grab logs and begin heading back inside. You get back into the kitchen proper where the fire is, and the rest of everyone else with a bundle of wood. The clock continues to tick. You guys, the drop point is going to happen within the next hour.
Well,
Hey.
so much for that.
I think we should. Sorry, but I think we should try and figure out how we're gonna get to the drop point.
Yeah.
Gotta try something. I would not like to die, to be honest. The idea doesn't sound particularly good. Yeah. So let's find a way out of here. Maybe there's a bus outside or something. I don't know.
Do you think the buses are
Suppose you
still
got
running
a
right now?
car, Christy?
No, not a.
I'm talking
not
to
a
Christy, not
I don't have a car. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Well, any vehicle outside. Certainly not one that we just left, because that thing is, well, it's busted.
My neighbor had a bike.
What kind of
like-
bike?
One of a motorcycle.
Was it a Harley?
Oh.
I don't know. I know he had a motorcycle. I'm not sure if it's still there, but I used to hear it revving from his garage.
Well,
Could have been a
something.
chainsaw.
I
I
think.
mean, a chainsaw's something, I guess. Fuck it.
Either way, it would be a good idea to investigate.
Hmm.
I think we need to have
Can I
some
go?
sort of. I mean, firstly, if it is, I would say that firstly, if it is a bike, the person who rides bikes should probably be the authority on that front. So they should definitely go.
I mean, you kind of owe me. I did give you a drink.
You did give me a drink, that's true.
But also, we can't have two drunk people on a bike
I
driving around.
I had a single shot of whiskey. I am fucking fine. Anyway.
I'll go with to make sure that the pair of you don't get hurt. Anybody else wish to come along?
Derek raises his hand. Might as well. I got a gun. Might as well. It is that.
Yeah, a little posse.
Hey,
Fantastic.
Christine says, "Yeah, the garage. It's out front. It's hard to miss. It's just down. It's just right around the side there. It can be lifted up. I never saw much from it otherwise. Good luck out there.
Thanks.
You guys, those who are going, head out into the night towards the neighbor's house, which is across a vast stretch of dark lawn covered with splintered wood. The wind continues to pick up, but your flashlights do reveal that the house just next door has a squat white garage off the side. Its door only slightly lifted open, not all the way though. Just there's darkness from within.
Jane moves to lift up the door.
Make a conflict check.
All right.
You get 1-6. I get 1-6.
Oh,
You have
boo.
3 1s, unless you want to burn your vice if that's the next one in the stack. Well, no, you can't. It's the same scene. So therefore,
Yeah,
I roll a 6, so I gain narration rights. The task still succeeds. You throw the garage door open. The darkness of the interior of the garage is illuminated by your flashlights. Inside, there is indeed a motorcycle sitting in the middle of the garage. There is a table full of supplies of tools, various cutters, a chainsaw, and some hedge clippers are erected up on the wall overhead. But towards the back of the garage, a table has been overturned, and in the dark back recesses of the garage, you hear wet chewing and slurping, and there is a dark puddle that seems to be leaking around the side of the table.
You know, it occurs to me we're gonna need keys if we even want to start this thing. saying?
Neve hasn't said anything, but she decides to train her light on the source of the sound, and start to slowly move around to try and basically scare it off.
Make a conflict check.
As she does so, she also makes sure that she has everyone behind her.
Sure. Make a conflict check.
So this is 66, yeah?
No, because Kristen rolled 3 1s. You are rolling 3d6.
Yeah.
Ay.
As you encircle around the table and you shine your light back there, there is a sudden screech and a clattering of movement as your flashlights flicker for a moment and the table upturns itself again and skids several feet to where you guys are, like just before your feet. And in the darkness up ahead, as your flashlights are flickering, you make out just the shape of something large quickly moving across the floor, deeper into the back shadows of the garage and out one of the windows, lying on the floor in front of what was behind the table. There is a heavily desiccated body. It's hard to tell any features of it, but as quickly as the body, you see it in your lights, as your lights flicker back into solid shapes, there is no body. There was no motorcycle. This garage is empty. There was never anything here at all. These things are true. The world is dark. And we have some people who actually need to leave, so even though this is meant to be played over the course of one night, we are going to put a pin in things here with the darkening of one candle. Oh.
Hold on, I have one idea.
Hmm?
These things are true. I'll just say my truth now.
Yeah, go for it. Well,
the lights
actually,
turn on.
well,
It's fine now. End of story. We're good. Let's go home.
Yay!
Great. These games are not meant to be played over multiple sessions. But given the fact that we have people who need to bounce out now, we'll respect that and not just auto kill them immediately, especially when things are getting juicy and interesting.
But I want to die.
I know, right? So we'll figure out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll figure out how to make this work. And going forward, well, it's fun because we get to learn a couple things about this game. One, that don't play this game when you're tired, because we're all very tired. Two, this game's really fun. Three, maybe make characters before the stream.
Yeah, I think the issue here was
know how to make characters before the stream so you can make them within like 30 minutes.
that is, I think that would help, but also I think given the thing is that storytelling can potentially take a while.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
I
also-
think I'd recommend.
But also, yeah, definitely some things to consider. So I don't know. We'll figure out when to finish this off, because we can finish it in one more game, and then going forward, we'll be able to do these in one night. Yeah, so it's fun. Everyone, save your characters, save your sheets, save the order that they're currently in. When we come back, the order of truths will begin with Walrus. I'm saving this order of rotation, and yeah. Maybe you guys will be in the know, so we'll figure out when we can continue this game. But we have a lot of people who really need to go to bed, especially for the Brits it's like 4 a.m. and people like me.
It is 4 a.m., my dude.
Who have a late
It's
job
nearly
to
the
go to.
Homestuck number.
Yes, indeed.
Disgusting.
And my
It's
birthday!
It's nearly the week number in our land.
Yes. So
It's nearly my adult day.
yes,
Oh
it
my
is.
goodness, it is.
So yes. So we will all come back to this hopefully soon, and yeah, this is fun. Yeah, cool. Don't know what else to say because we're all hella tired. So
Yeah.
I want to snooze. My dog's already been snoring like this whole stream.
Oh,
He's just
Boy.
been snoring away. He keeps like cuddling up to my legs and snoring on them.
So anyway, we will let you guys know when when we'll play another session. So everyone wish JoJo a happy early birthday, and
yay!
Happy
Jojo.
Happy birthday,
Next-
Don't
Jojo.
hug me.
next Friday is
Yes!
next Friday is Tomb Day. So
Mhm.
see you all then.
Next Friday is Tomb Day. Sunday will
Yay!
a stream of
When-
some sort.
You continue. I was just gonna ask when the next 10 candles would be.
Yeah.
Good question.
Next week. I would.
Yeah. Either next Friday or probably next Friday.
Either next Friday or the next empty stream session that we have, or we can just create a stream session.
And just finish it off in that one and then keep it.
It's our channel. We can do what we
Yeah,
want.
we do what I want. Honestly, we can talk about some solutions. One of which is we can just grab a random night upcoming and just like finish it then, but keep 10 candles nights as Fridays, but just for the sake of getting it done before, people like Phil leave the U.S. Yeah, we'll see. So cool. Well, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you around.
Right, so.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Anya.